game, pull off a couple big upsets. The perception and projections for 23 kind of become the same thing. Hey, win 7-8 games and take a step forward from what you did the year before. And they took a step back, go 5-7, miss a bowl game. And all last summer we were talking about, okay, well, they're projected to win 5 or 6 games again and maybe miss a bowl game again. So again, here we are looking at, again, a month out from the season ending, saying, okay, Carolina won 9 games, was on the cusp of the college football playoff. And then you have an insider like Andy Staples saying, well, I got them in the college football playoff. And I think a lot of people this offseason, maybe not necessarily putting them in the final 12, but I can have them somewhere around that realm of, 15th to 20th, somewhere along those lines, right in line with what they've done this past season, because that seems to be the norm when it comes to where people view South Carolina year to year. It's basically, what did you do last year? Okay, we'll kind of copy and paste it for the following season.
It's so funny because we've kind of done the roller coaster. They always say the roller coaster that is South Carolina football. First year I got here, coming off the Mayo Bowl, it was not like it was like, oh, that's a cute little 7-6 season. Got mayonnaise dumped on you. Now here comes Spencer Rattler. Oh. Here comes some other guys through the portal. Oh. Wow. Now it's like, well, maybe this team will be better than 7 wins. It wasn't like it was picked to finish like in the top 3 in the SEC, but all of a sudden, ooh. Yeah. This program could be better than last year's 7-6.
Yeah.
And they were, to their credit. They won 8.
A little bit better. Took a step.
They win 8. They get a couple of really nice top 10 wins late in the year, go to the Gator Bowl. Oh, this thing, Beamer's he's already done the heavy lifting, baby. Mm-hmm. Here we go. How about 9 or 10 wins in year 3? And it went,
yeah.
So then there was no expectation. 0. I was at SEC Media Day. When South Carolina finished up on Monday or the first day of SEC Media Days, it was Thursday. I can't remember. Wednesday, whatever the hell it was. It might have been Monday. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Barely remember, my car's parked. After South Carolina, who was there the first day, guess how much South Carolina conversation there was?
None.
How about 0?
Yeah.
And
because they didn't give you a reason to talk about it.
No, and even Shane, when he got up at SEC Media Days, I get you guys. I get why we're picked 11th. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're better than that. And everybody's like, yeah, he's supposed to say that. No one's going to get up and go, you picked us 11th? Hell, we're going to finish 13th or 14th. So once South Carolina had their day and did their time and did the car wash for South Carolina at SEC Media Days, South Carolina's conversation was over.
Yep.
And they were, if you sit and think about it, because Vanderbilt was a nice story for a while, and then they kind of came back to the pack a bit. South Carolina becomes the most surprising story of the SEC in 2025 or 2024.
Yeah, I would say so. Florida turned it on at the end of the regular season, ended up being better than we thought they were. But I'd say overall, and just talking about a 6-game run and beating ranked teams and the emergence of sellers and all that kind of stuff, definitely so. I think Carolina took the most people by surprise with what they did this year.
I bet you if we go back and look at the preseason, as much as we thought Billy Napier was dead man walking, there were probably folks that picked Florida ahead of South Carolina because of the talent they had.
Probably so.
So, again, here we are. Wow, 9 wins. Dynamic young quarterback in the Heisman Trophy conversation. Maybe the best young edge pass rusher, one of the 2 best young edge pass rushers in college football here. Kept guys with the NIL money, brought in some transfer portal. Woo, here we go. The expectations ramped up again. I think it's even higher now than it was coming off the Gator Bowl year.
I think so. And, you look and Staples in his article about this spoke focused specifically on Sellers and Stewart, which I feel like is what most people are going to kind of focus in on. I'm not saying they can't get to that point. My concern is, okay, what happens around them? Because, yes, you have those guys, but there's 10 other guys on defense. There's 10 other guys on offense. And particularly on defense. And, yes, we brought in some guys from the transfer portal. We heard from Brandon Cisse earlier on this morning on the Gamecock Club Hour. We expect him to be a solid piece in that secondary. But, okay, what happens at linebacker? What happens on the interior of your defensive line? Who's going to be the other guy on the coming off the edge now that Kyle Kennard's gone? Like, there's so many questions on defense and similarly on offense. Who's going to step up at wide receiver and be your true number 1 guy? How's the running back room going to shake out? Is Faison going to come here and be a 1,000-yard back like he was at Utah State? How's your offensive line going to work out? Like, there's just so many questions to me that if you're asking me, project your top 12, I don't feel comfortable enough with what we don't know about this team to say, yes, for sure, I think they're going to be there.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think there's still work to be done, and there's question marks. And the good news is there's question marks pretty much everywhere. today. College football is filled with question marks all the time.
And look, teams are going to change 180 from what they were last year and vice versa. So it's all over the place. And again, we're in the long off season of projections, and I think, and here's my list, and here's my top this and top that. So this is just kind of the beginning, but it is so different, the night and day from where we were a year ago, where if you were asking people, hey, what's your top 70 in college football, some people would have had Carolina in that.
No, and now Andy Staples has him not only in the college football playoff, but beating Penn State in the first game.
Going to the Rose Bowl to take on Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool.
Don't book your tickets yet, by the way, please.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Exactly. But Andy Staples even said the fact that South Carolina is playing in the Rose Bowl season, it's good.
Oh,
no matter what happens against Oregon, season's phenomenal.
That would be the best season in program history if that happened.
Yes,
even if Oregon blew you out by 80 points, you still got there.
Once you got over the hurt of the loss, you go, wow, got the college football playoff, won a game, ended up in the Final Eight, and played in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
That'd be all right, man.
Yeah, that is legitimately the greatest season in program history.
And we'll get more into what Andy Staples picked through the column. We're going to dig into that in the 1 o'clock hour. But it was interesting when you saw South Carolina not only in the playoff, taking on Penn State and beating Penn State. It was funny. Andy Staples said in his little capsule, sorry, James. Sorry, Coach Franklin, to do this to you. I know this will give you an off season of criticism and talk of being on the hot seat, but South Carolina's going to beat you.
Well, and it's funny because Penn State's kind of in that, hey, we're all in to win in 2025. And went out and you paid a bunch of money for Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator. You got Aller back. You got your running backs back. You got all the guys on defense back. Like, if there was ever a year where Penn State was going to win it all, it seems like this would be the year.
Yeah, you feel like, Penn State's kind of loading it up, right?
Yeah.
And then if they would get beat in that game, James Franklin would be a long off season.
Yeah, people look
long off season.
This guy.
But it's funny. It's very cool to see these preseason prognostications about South Carolina. And obviously, so much of it has to do with Sellers and Stewart.
Yeah.
Because there's two things you care about in football in the modern era of 2025. A, do you have a quarterback? Check the box. B, do you have a guy coming off the edge who hits quarterbacks really hard? Check it off the edge. Check it off the box. You got two very important pieces of a successful football team in today's world. And I think you make the perfect point of, okay, now you got to fill in around it. What are you doing to fill in around? You have an offensive line good enough to protect this quarterback, even though we saw this quarterback run for his life and do it really well last year when the offensive line couldn't protect him. Are you going to have enough weapons around him? Are you going to be able to have a running back who can, take the pressure off this quarterback to have to be your leading rusher? Defensively, around that edge guy, what are you going to have on the other side? You might not have a Kyle Kennard. Can you have somebody else who can benefit if Stewart's getting double or triple teamed?
Yep.
What about linebacker? One of the things we don't talk about enough was one of the biggest differences in this football team last year, besides pass rush, was you had three athletic linebackers running around like their hair was on fire, making plays.
Yeah, that's hard to replace.
And that's all gone, by the way. And defensively, you lost a corner who had a good year. You lost a safety who was one of the best safeties in America. You got stuff to fill in around this quarterback and this edge pass rusher, to your point.
Yeah. And again, we're going to spend the entire offseason projecting and speculating. We're not going to know until toe meets leather at the end of August, taking on Virginia Tech and go from there. But again, it's nice to see you're at least being talked about this offseason way more than you were last year.
And we'll talk about...
And you earned your right to do that.
Absolutely. What you did last season and the wins you got last season and the momentum you were carrying, you deserve to hear the praise. But what comes with that, sir, we'll talk about next.
Yeah.
Halftime show. David Ayer disrespecting Punxsutawney Phil. I heard it. Disrespect Phil.
Well, he said that we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. I don't know if you looked outside. It's like cold. 78 degrees.
It's cold out there. Tyler Head's here. David Ayer's punching the buttons.
It's a cold day in Hawaii, maybe.
Halftime show. We're going up until 3 on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. And 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Together, let's drive.
Need a roof? Trust Crescent Construction. With over 20,000 roofs installed and counting, they've got the experience you need. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, and general contracting. Visit CrescentCarolina.com today for free estimates and free inspections. That's right, no cost, no commitment. Crescent Construction, quality you can count on. For all your roofing and construction needs, visit CrescentCarolina.com now.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town, in our store, and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
But at Absolute Glass, we can also care for all your other glass needs too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Firehouse Subs is excited to introduce for a limited time their delicious French dip sub. This hearty and craveable sub starts with premium roast beef loaded with caramelized onions, melted Swiss and provolone cheese, and topped with Italian seasoning, all on a toasted garlic bread roll and served with hot au jus for dipping. Visit any one of their Columbia locations to try it today, or you can skip the line and download the Firehouse Subs app. Be sure to support the Firehouse Foundation by rounding up your donations to help local fire departments purchase life-saving equipment.
Gunner here with the mortgage guru Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you in need of a guru in this market, Jacob will get you taken care of. Just a few years ago, he helped me, and I personally recommend him and First Palmetto Bank, who's owned and operated right here in the Midlands. Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Bill. It's nice to have the band back together. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, if you're considering building a home, we have a no-nonsense construction loan fit your needs. If the new year brings change, we can help you. Give me a call, 803-719-1005.
Great news on the housing market having stabilized. So that makes it a good time to buy?
Absolutely. That sums it up, Bill.
Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My MLS number is 198432. First Palmetto is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
What's up, Gamecocks? Ben Cato, third generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment. If you own a lawnmower, one of two things is probably true. Either you've been putting it through the ringer, mulching up leaves and pine straw all winter, or you haven't touched it in quite some time. Either way, Cato's can get it tuned up, repaired, and ready to work. Weeds are peeking their heads out of the ground, and warm temps mean grass is about to grow. Don't wait until our shop is full. Visit Cato's today and get your lawnmower and grass cutting tools ready to keep you cutting.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, welcome back in. It is the Halftime Show. Tyler Head and Terry Ford along with you here on your Tuesday on the Game. Again, talked in the last segment about Andy Staples and his high expectations for South Carolina going into 2025 by placing them in his 12-team college football playoff where they'd go on the road to Happy Valley and take on James Franklin's Penn State team in the first round. And in his opinion, he feels like they would win that game. And advance on to take on Oregon in the Rose Bowl, which would be, like I said, the greatest season in Gamecock football history up to that point, even if you went out there and got obliterated by Oregon in that game. And, we try not to get too far ahead of ourselves when we talk about some of these projections. But like I said, this is going to be a normal thing. And maybe not everybody's going to put Carolina in their 12-team playoff, but they're going to find themselves somewhere around that 15th, 20 range, more often than not, when you talk about projections and where people think this team's going to be. And, they'll put out the win total projections and those kind of things. And I imagine it's probably going to float somewhere around 8 to 9 wins and this is where things are interesting in the SEC this year, because you're facing the same teams that you faced a year ago. The way the schedule works now, take the same 8 teams you played last year and you just flip the schedule where the home games were now away games and the away games are now home games. So I feel like, and again, so much changes over the course of an offseason now. It's hard to, get a sense for what every team's going to be compared to what it was maybe 8 or 10 years ago now, but you are facing the exact same teams you did a year ago, and that can give you maybe a little bit better of an idea of how to project these kind of things compared to maybe years past.
Yeah, you get an idea, but then you don't know really right now if we go over these teams. Everybody's a work in progress, and you got another transfer portal coming open soon, and so that's the tough part is you think you know what you don't know because you really don't, because it's such it's like, you can keep a small percentage of your roster, but there's always this idea that this sport has become a bunch of grifters.
Yep.
So you really don't know what you know. Like, who knew what Demetrius Knight was going to be last year? Kyle Kennard. Nobody. We all had an idea what Rocket Sanders would be, right? But we didn't know about Demetrius Knight and Kyle Kennard and that kind of, those type of, even Dylan Stewart. He was coming in from high school, but, again, it's a rare freshman that can step up and be a true difference maker coming out of high school.
Yep.
So we don't know what we don't know. And, the one thing we brought up going into the break is now you have expectation. You are expected to be really good this year. You're expected by some to be in the college football playoff, or at least fighting for that spot like you were last year. Now, all of a sudden, little old South Carolina's got big old expectations. And, and look, Shane's talked about it to a point, not like in depth. But and we've had this conversation here. I am very OD'd on, we shocked the world. Nobody respected us. Nobody believed us. It's that low-hanging motivational fruit, and everybody does it. And nobody believed in me. Okay. It's like the Kansas City Chiefs saying, nobody thought we'd get back here. No, everybody thought we'd get back here.
Everybody assumes so.
Yes. I have really gotten to the point where I admire programs or people who step up and go, no, we expect to be good. Come on, let's see what you got, because we know what we got. Bring it on. Let's see who's the best. We feel we're pretty damn good. I want, and again, in whatever way, and I don't want Shane Beamer saying, we're going to go undefeated. We're going to be wonderful. But just embrace the idea that this is who you want to be. Mm-hmm. This is why you work 20 hours a day and sleep on your couch. And this is why these guys, we see the videos of them flipping truck tires and, pushing semis up a hill. And you want to be looked at the way you're being looked at right now. Now you got to go and meet that expectation or exceed it once you hit the field.
Well, and I think it's important to put together those kind of seasons back to back, because let's go back to 2022, where, again, 2 of the biggest wins in program history to cap off the season. And, yeah, you lost the ball game, but you were playing with half your roster, so I don't think people put too much stock into that. But people said, wow, Beamer, look what he's accomplished in his first couple of years. And if you went out there, if you had the year you had last year and you're number 3 instead, let's say you went from 7 wins to 8 wins to 9 wins, then people are saying, man, Beamer's, a top 10 coach in the country right now because he's just making this program better and better and better. And you would have people projecting you to be a top 5, seed in the college football playoff or something along those lines. But the fact that you still have not done it in back-to-back years, I think is going to be something that people are waiting to see. Like, okay, it's one thing to bring in the right crop of talent and to have a good year in the portal and put it all together for one season. But being able to do it back-to-back years, turn into a 3-4 year thing consistently, I think that's kind of the next step here, which is why this year is going to be so vitally important to be able to, if not replicate that same success, do even better.
The portal has brought you the opportunity to have these cool 1-year turnaround stories, right? Indiana. Wow, what a cool story. few years ago, Michigan State, wow, out of nowhere, Kenneth Walker, 10 wins. It gives you that opportunity, right? But it also makes it more difficult to sustain that success. So from what you're saying, I agree with you. What you want to be is that program that can become where we have sustained success. Now, look, would everybody love to be Bama under Nick Saban? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you can put together a nice run of 3 years of really good to excellent production in your one-loss record, and then you have a dip, that's life, because it's so tough to be consistently excellent in this era. Even good teams. Look at with the portal. Guys leave Notre Dame. Guys leave Penn State. Guys are walking away from Ohio State. Guys leave, hell, they're losing coordinators. People leave no matter what now. So is it easier to stay on a high level if you're Ohio State or, Georgia, whoever? Sure. But they're not immune. Not a whole lot of people are on the Georgia bandwagon for next year, Tyler.
Yeah.
They're not. You look at Andy Staples saying, yeah, Georgia, what, an 8-9 seed or something?
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult now. But if you can put together a nice little 3-year run and be in the college football playoff or in the conversation, and then if you have a little, okay, now we're 6-6 this year, or 7-5 this year. That's not a bad world to live in.
It becomes, they just had a bad year, as opposed to, they just went back to being what South Carolina is.
This is who they are.
Perennial 500 team, you know what I mean, with the occasional great seasons here and there. Like, you have the ability in this next couple of seasons, if you can continue to be successful as you have been, to change the perception of what this program is.
Yeah, and I think that's where you want to go. And if you get your resources in order, and obviously, the NIL continues to grow and evolve here in South Carolina with the Garnet Trust and things of that nature. And also with this cap you're going to have, that if you can spend close to the cap number that's coming and you have NIL resources to support your cap, you're really setting yourself up to be as successful as you can. You still have to recruit high school, because you know what some of those high school kids want, Tyler?
Money.
NIL money.
Yeah, especially the high-level ones.
That's where you're at. And if you can, and as much as people get disgusted by it, this is the playground. This is the sandbox you're in now, right?
Yep.
So if you can get your resources together to go with a bunch of coaches led by the head coach who recruit like demons, and then you come in and you start developing these players consistently, guess what? You have a shot to be who we're talking about.
Yep.
You just do. All right, maybe you just woke up. Maybe you just rolled over. Maybe you've been busy and you don't know what's going on. We'll get you caught up just in case you opened your eyes to the world of sports. That's next. Halftime show. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford, till 3 on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances, and Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Honey, look, the hookers. They've moved off the highway and now they're all over the parking lot.
What are all those Schroeder's towing trucks doing in that parking lot, though?
Must be towing all those unauthorized cars parked in the lot. Good thing the business owner called Schroeder's Towing to keep their parking lot clear for just their customers. Didn't those cars see the free signage that Schroeder's provides to business owners to deter unauthorized parking?
I guess not.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Are you considering a new roof or repairs but unsure where to start? Crescent Construction offers free roofing estimates to help you make informed decisions with ease. Our expert team is ready to assess your needs and provide comprehensive insights. Visit our website, crescentcarolina.com, to learn more about our services and schedule your free estimate today. Trust us to guide you through the process with professionalism and care. Don't wait. Contact us today at crescentcarolina.com.
Are you tired of dealing with pain? Are you looking for a solution that doesn't involve surgery, drugs, big expenses, or long recovery times? Well, let me tell you about Shockwave Therapy, available now at QC Kinetics Columbia. Shockwave Therapy is an evidence-based, non-invasive treatment designed to stimulate your body's natural healing processes by increasing circulation to the affected area and promoting cellular repair. The best part? There's no drugs, no surgery, and absolutely no downtime. This advanced technology has been trusted by professional athletes for years. So whether you're recovering from an injury or simply looking to enhance your healing, Shockwave Therapy could be the game-changing solution that you've been waiting for. So schedule your free consultation today. Don't let pain hold you back any longer. Call now or visit us online to book your appointment. You can also use HSA and FSA plans. QC Kinetics is now offering Shockwave Therapy. Call today, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Integrated Media, Columbia's leader in today's technology for your home and business. They've got TVs from Sony and Samsung, surround sound systems from Dolby, Sonos wireless speakers, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, even cameras to see what's going on around your home. They've got you covered. Call Integrated Media at 803-948-8327. Set up a time for them to come out to your house and talk with you about your wants and your needs. You want to cut the cord? They can help. Want one of those beautiful Samsung frame TVs that looks like art when it's not turned on? They do that too. Plus fantastic outdoor systems that let you enjoy your favorite team, movie, TV show, or music while you also enjoy our beautiful South Carolina weather. You can even stop in and see them at the Experience Center, 105 Snapdragon Court and Chapin, and get a real idea of what these things look like in your home. Do what I've done, and many of your friends and neighbors. Call 803-948-8327 and get home theater like never before from Integrated Media.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Are you ready for football?
Let's go.
Truly ready for football?
Yes.
Are you screaming for football?
What the hell is happening?
Dreaming for football.
Good times.
Eating, sleeping, crafting, parenting, naming your pets, and preparing for football.
That sort of stuff happening? Oh, my goodness.
Are you dancing, jonesing, Mahomesing for football?
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Good. Then you are ready for football. With the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
They're ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Just in case you just woke up, here's what's happening in the world of sports. Sponsored by The Gutterman.
Protect your biggest investment. Call The Gutterman at 803-791-7147.
All right, just in case you woke up, sponsored by our buddies at The Gutterman. Guess what? It's Super Bowl week. Did you know that?
Does it feel that way?
You know, it's weird. I've been after so many of these, it's just whatever.
I feel like, and I get it, they built up the anticipation, allows teams to practice, but like I feel like having the week off, and then again the Pro Bowl, nobody cares about it.
No one cares about that stuff.
I feel like it does kill a little bit of the momentum.
I think too, because our sports content world, like we had the Luka trade, which was like crazy. You know, there's college football news. You know, there's stuff we always talk about to where all of a sudden we look up like, oh, it's Super Bowl week. How about that? Okay, let's get into this. And I think too, look, the NFL is great at making everything a machine. Media days was better when it was the Wild Wild West. And, you know, some dude came in a wedding dress asking questions. Some woman asked Tom Brady to marry her.
Yep.
All sorts of kookiness ensued, and it was fun, right?
Yep.
But now, what have you done with it?
Sterilized it.
You've sterilized it.
Yeah. And you still get occasional odd questions, but it's not the outlandishness. And now it's a TV product now. Yeah. Like last night, everything, because it's media day. It's also kind of like this quasi pep rally thing. So it's all for TV where, again, you can't get some nut job coming in and say, what do you think about the Kennedy assassination or something like that?
Exactly. I mean, you know, the biggest thing was Patrick Mahomes talking about Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Because Mahomes grew up outside of Dallas and he's a Mavs fan. But you don't get like the kookiness and the fun stuff and just the weirdness that you used to get.
Did they, and I know you have experience being at the Super Bowl, did they just truly open it up to any media? What was the credential process like?
The thing about credentials that was interesting, just from a radio perspective, is if you obviously were in the local market and you covered the team, it was easy.
Yeah.
If you were in the local market and did any kind of content for the team, you could do it. And then if you're in the local market, and let's say a morning, like the first Super Bowl weeks I went to, I wasn't even in talk.
Yeah.
I was in not sports, I was in music radio doing mornings. I was doing a morning show.
Okay.
And the first one I went to, I was in Wisconsin, and we went to New Orleans for Green Bay and New England.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a little pack that we did, a mobile pack, and we walked around New Orleans in the French Quarter talking to weirdos for 5 days.
Nice.
And
that is perfect morning radio content.
It was unbelievable. I mean, we had this. I'm going to stop. I shouldn't tell. We had a special kind of human being our tour guide for one day, and he took us through the dirty underbelly of the French Quarter live on the air between 6 and 10 a.m.
Nice.
It was fantastic. It was. Anyway, one day I'll tell it to you all. That's the After Hours podcast.
Okay.
But I had a media credential for Radio Row.
Yeah.
I had media credential for all access to the press conferences, to everything.
So you could have gone and asked Brett Favre something outlandish.
Yeah, I could have said, there's a special alley in the French Quarter. Brett, have you been there yet? I mean, I could have. How many beads have you gotten so far, Brett? How many have you thrown? Yeah. I could, and you can ask anything.
Yeah.
It was wide open. And now it's very corporate and sterilized, where you've closed the ranks on this stuff compared to what it was back then. And because it was hilarious.
And I guess to a degree, the NFL obviously is doing what it can to protect its image on all fronts. So, especially with a lot of things going on in the world today, I guess try and prevent as many of those people from getting in and asking, hey, Patrick Mahomes, the government's thinking about passing this bill, or the White House did this. What are your thoughts on it? Because, again, that goes in a billion different directions, which is what the NFL is trying to avoid.
Yeah, and to be honest, I get that, because we've tried to do our best to suck the fun out of life in every way, shape, or form now, because we've let a small percentage of people take over the bigger percentage of people, because they're so loud. We think there's a bigger group of them than there really are. And because we don't have people with any cojones in charge of anything anymore, they shrink if 10 people scream and yell.
Yep.
So we've had the fun sucked out of a lot of things. And because of that, I understand, for an example, like you hit a perfect example. Someone gets up from some network or some podcast or somewhere outside of the grid, from whatever portion of their interest, and ask some ridiculous question that can cause a lot of garbage.
Yeah, a question that has to be answered, and even if you don't answer it, that creates its own version of controversy. Patrick Mahomes avoiding answering a question about whatever it may be.
You know what that means, right?
Yeah, it opens up a can of worms, and then that's headlines all week. And I get the NFL's trying to protect the image of not only itself, but the stars of its game.
And that's the sad part of the world we live in today because of that. So I get why they do it. Even though we've kind of lost that element of, wow, we've done that to everything now. So the NFL is just covering their butt and making sure that they try to control as many narratives as possible, right?
Sure.
And they're trying to control this narrative so things don't get sideways. Totally understand it. It's just not as much fun as it used to be.
It's not. Now, you did have Jameis Winston running around with the microphone last night, which sign me up for that.
Yeah, I'd go for that. I mean, because
hey, Saquon, who should sign me as a backup or as a quarterback?
Hey, let's all get together and eat W's.
I think the Giants need a backup. No, I want to start, man.
So, yeah, we got Super Bowl week. It's kicked in with all the media stuff, and we'll yap about it as the week goes on. But it's one thing I will say before we move on to something else. I find this interesting, and I'm reading this. There are people who really believe that the lack of juice right now, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Any kind of lack of juice of anything is because people are tired of the Chiefs. And maybe the world's different, dude. But I've always grown up on the idea of a team like Kansas City, more people are going to watch because they want if you are truly tired of them, you're going to watch because you want them to lose.
Sure.
You want to be eyeballs on the TV when they get beat. And then you can go like this. Oh, thank God that's over. Even though it's really not. Oh, thank God they got beat. I hope Taylor Swift is crying. Oh, my gosh. Teams like this, I don't think they run off viewers. I think viewers watch either they're on the bandwagon because all of a sudden they love Kansas City because they're winners, or they can't stand it and they think they get every call and they're cheaters and everything's been set up and scripted and they want to see them lose.
Yeah, I will say on the other side of things, Philadelphia is a little bit of a harder team to root for a lot of people because, hey, look, if this was the Commanders, then like,
the plucky
90% of the country, underdog story, Jaden Daniels, great. Yeah, I'm going to root on the Commanders this weekend.
Right.
David and Goliath, where the Eagles rub people the wrong way. Sirianni rubs people the wrong way. I think that's a little bit of a harder team to say, yeah, anybody but the Chiefs, I root for the Eagles. So I think that maybe plays a part of it. But look, when the ratings come out this time next week for the Super Bowl, it's going to be 120 million some odd people like it is each and every year. Like for those people that said, I'm not going to watch it, you're going to find your way to a TV more likely than not to watch the game, whether at your house, somebody else's house. Like it's not going to suddenly dip in ratings. Oh no, the Chiefs and Eagles play for the second time in 3 years. Like it's going to be the norm.
Right. I mean, because again, it's what the Super Bowl does, and people watching don't care about the Chiefs or the Eagles. Right? They care about the commercials or the halftime show or who's singing the national anthem. Oh, I bet on the coin flip.
You can bet on, and I'll get to some of the props later on in the week, but you can literally bet on everything involved with the Super Bowl, down to the Gatorade color that gets dumped on the coach, the length of the national anthem, what Taylor Swift's going to be wearing when they show her in the box. You know what I mean?
The over-under of camera shots of Taylor Swift,
exactly.
All that stuff. Oh, yeah. All right, real quick, also, just in case you woke up, sponsored by the government here on the Game halftime show. Leonard Hamilton will be stepping down at the end of the year at Florida State. Leonard Hamilton is an excellent basketball coach, but what we've seen the last 4 years of Florida State, it's time.
Yep.
It just is. And this happens. Well, first of all, Leonard Hamilton is not like 25 years old. Leonard Hamilton, I think he's in his 70s, if I'm not mistaken. I think. I'm going to double check because I'm looking at his record. Leonard Hamilton's 76 years old.
Yeah, it's time.
People forget something. Leonard Hamilton coached in the NBA in Washington like years ago. 1 year in Washington. He was, more than 1 year in Washington. He made the playoffs 1 year with the Wizards, but he coached the Wizards back in the day. He's coached at Oklahoma State, Miami, and Florida State in college. He's been at Florida State, by the way, since 2002.
Wow.
He had a nice little run a couple years ago. It was 2018, 2019, got to the Elite Eight and got to the Sweet 16, and then piled that up the year after COVID, got back to the Sweet 16. Since then, though, 0 tournament appearances. And had a rough 9-23, barely over 500. This year's 13-9, but below 500 in conference. You're 76 years old. The last 4 years have not been your friend. Whether you still have the energy of a 26-year-old doesn't matter. It looks like, okay, you've been here a long time, Leonard, over 20 years. Maybe it's time for us to bring a new voice and a new person in the office.
Well, and there was controversy abound as well. That
yes.
Is
well, the money, the NIL,
and
that doesn't help.
When you're making promises that you're not able to to back up, that usually ends badly.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, and especially the way it was presented.
Yeah,
wasn't good for Leonard Hamilton either, and that also tells you if you're in the upper levels of making these decisions at Florida State, you're thinking, does this guy have a grasp of NIL? Does he get where it's going or how it's got to go or what we're doing moving forward as well? Because that's, again, it's important. But Leonard Hamilton will be stepping down as the head coach at Florida State. Guy, again, career-wise and just talking about college, a lot of wins, man. Over 650 wins in his career, almost a 570 winning percentage. Never made a Final Four. Got close, again, made it to an Elite Eight. But good college basketball coach, Leonard Hamilton.
And look, we see this a lot, with coaches that have been around for a long time and had their way of doing things that as the world of college sports changed around him, they just weren't able to adapt or take full advantage of what these new things with NIL, with transfer portal, to be able to continue on that success. And it seems like he's kind of the latest example of that.
Yep. So Leonard Hamilton will be stepping down as a head coach at Florida State. All right. Coming up Thursday on WOMG, our sister station, 98.5, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. South Carolina back on the court You can hear it again on our sister station again, 98.5 WOMG. 5:30 pregame with Brad, 6 o'clock tip. See, we got some games coming up. Not Thursday. That will be Georgia, correct?
Yes, for the women.
But then you got Texas on the weekend, and the following weekend you got UConn.
Yep.
So got some interesting games coming up for the women, but Georgia this Thursday on our sister station, 98.5 WOMG, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Firehouse Sub text the hours next, 803-404-6100 halftime show. David Ayre steering the ship, Tyler Head, Terry Ford. We're going till 3 here on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. NFL players and coaches should make sure their passports are up to date. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell told reporters Monday a 16-game international schedule is a goal. A permanent international franchise has potential, and, quote, he wouldn't be surprised if that international franchise got to host the Super Bowl sometime soon. I'm Maggie Gray.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for University Housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You okay?
I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for University Housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, David Ayre here on the game as we roll this baby up until 3. 803-404-6100. We'll get our Firehouse Sub text the hour here in just a minute. But men's basketball not the entire week, getting a week off, are the South Carolina men. They won't tee it up until the weekend. That gives Lamont Paris a nice little week to do a little self-scouting, maybe do some recruiting. Just kind of dig into some things, make some changes, sort of like almost like a bye week in college football for men's basketball at South Carolina. Again, Lamont will be Carolina Calls 6 o'clock Thursday with Derek Scott here on the Game in Columbia and also in Myrtle Beach as well. But, yeah, kind of like a week off. Get it together. Another close loss, obviously, against A&M on Saturday. Don't have to worry about anything until Kentucky at Rupp. 11:30 pregame, noon tip here on the Game in Columbia and Myrtle Beach this coming up Saturday. But again, taking a week off is South Carolina. And my guess is, and again, I'm just guessing, I don't know. At this point, you kind of see certain things they are the way they are. You know that Jamari Thomas is far and away your number one option at the point, and he's your second leading scorer. Colin Murray-Boyles is your dude. He's your leading scorer. And then the rest of these pieces, you just got to figure out. You're going to be playing Zach Davis because, again, defensively he's really good. And, offensively, you're just looking for guys to give you something, right? And Zach Davis at times can give you something, and at times he makes you shake your head. But you got to – are you going to give Conyers and Cam more playing time? Are you going to think of maybe finding a way to use Jordan Butler more, even though right now it feels like Jordan Butler just wants to shoot threes and occasionally try to block a shot? But would he be more of a complete player with more playing time? I don't know. I know this from Tyler, what Tyler tells me. Jordan Butler's lost a lot of games in a row as a college basketball player in the SEC.
No, he's not won one yet. He is 0-27.
In the SEC.
Now, I'm a superstitious person, so I'm starting to look at him a little bit sideways.
Okay, so let's say Lamont is superstitious like you and says, Jordan, I need you to stay at the hotel. And they win.
Is it enough? Because he's still on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still, his presence is on the roster. So it's like, do you just have to get him off the roster? To purge?
You bring him in. Son, we got to let you go. Why? You're 0 for your life in the SEC.
I'm just saying. You never know.
All right, what do you got there? Firehouse Subtext, the hour, 803-404-6100, boss.
Let's see here. We're talking, let's see here. Waiting for it to load. One moment.
Mm-hmm. How you doing?
Getting there.
I love technology, man. It's the best.
Hold on. Bear with me.
Anyway, while Tyler's doing that, also we have this cool little contest here called the Over-Under from Gamecock Traditions and Traditions Fine Jewelry. And this week, our Over-Under will be Joyce Edwards. This weekend against Texas, Joyce Edwards points over-under 15.5. You go to 1075thegame.com to the little flippy thingy. Media reel, promo reel, whatever you want to call it. Click on it, fill out the little form, and then go, does Joyce hit over the number or under the number? You pick it, you hit submit. If you get it right, you'll go in a pool of the other folks who got it right, and you might win yourself a gift card from Gamecock Traditions. So 1075thegame.com. You got plenty of time to still do it this week, but jump on and make your choice in our Gamecock Traditions Over-Under contest. How you doing now?
Yeah, finally loaded. Josh said original over-under was 6.5 wins for South Carolina. I'm assuming he's talking about going back into this past season. I saw it depending on where you looked. Some people said 5.5. Some people said 6.5. Again, nobody projected 9 wins or anything close to that. So, again, and look, coming off of a 5-7 season, that's still pretty close to what you had done the year before. So that kind of goes back to the point that I was making at the beginning of the show. You kind of look at what Carolina does the year before, and then that's kind of going to be around what people expect you to do the next year. So again, right now, you won 9 games, you're expected to, in a lot of people's eyes, going back to the Staples thing, expect to be somewhere around that range.
Here's the interesting part when Josh brings up over-under. Going into that year 2 of Rattler, I think the over-under was like still 5.5 or 6.5. Even coming off that 8-win season, it was not more than 6.5. So there wasn't a huge expectation level outside of Columbia for the football program, not like it is now. The expectation of what South Carolina should do in the eyes of the experts, it's been a while since the Gamecocks have been looked at like this.
Sure. Rightfully so.
Yeah, sure. Again, you're punching two very important tickets. You've got a dynamic young quarterback coming back and a dynamic young pass rusher. It's what you do around them. And we'll see. But we get it. I far and away in my short time here has the expectation level been this high for this program. Not even coming off the Gator Bowl year. Right. Was it anywhere near what it is right now? We appreciate the text, like always, 803-404-6100. We will go into Andy Staples' his college football bracket for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really stun and shock you.
There's a few names on there that you're like,
you go, interesting. Mm-hmm. So we'll get to that. Andy rolling out his list. At 1 o'clock hour, we always do football, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. And that's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. And we'll get into who's going to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. We'll go through Andy Staples' college football playoff bracket. And ESPN, Matt Miller has his mock draft out, 2-round mock draft. A couple Gamecocks are in it. One in the first round, one in the second round.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive. What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Check out the Season of Love at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 in Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
If you have IRS tax problems, it can seem like a vicious cycle that never ends, year after year. Just getting the mail can be stressful and overwhelming. Don't let it ruin your life. There is a solution. Since 2008, the attorneys at Ecton Law Firm have devoted their practice to the resolution of tax problems for individuals and businesses across the Carolinas. We have the knowledge and experience and are dedicated to the success of each client. We are local attorneys with local solutions. At the free initial consultation, we'll listen to your concerns, your goals, and explain the systematic process we use in solving your tax problem. From that initial meeting, you'll see there is a solution. We're dedicated to improving your life by solving your tax problems. If we sound like someone you want to work with, take that first step. Give us a call at 803-771-9800 or go to ectonlawfirm.com. You'll be glad you did.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Enjoy up to 70% off premium products, designer handbags, gift cards from national chains, autographed sports memorabilia, cruises, hotel accommodations, and more. SweetDeals.com. Click premium.
Some mornings have me struggling to get out of bed.
But thanks to McDonald's, now I have 3 delicious reasons to psych myself up for the day ahead. With the 2 for $5 mix and match deal, I can choose from the breakfast classics Mickey D's is known for. From the sizzling sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, to a sausage McMuffin with egg, to a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Ooh, what you waiting for? Get out of bed, sleepyhead, and make your way to Mickey D's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
They say perfection is a journey, and at Carolina Stone Craftsman, that journey leads us to just outside Columbia in Chapin. Our marble, our granite, our quartz, they're sculpted with the highest craftsmanship, honed with family values, and delivered with professional results. Explore the craftsmanship of each slab, see all our new showroom has to offer, and experience our custom hardscapes. Crafted to perfection, experience Carolina Stone Craftsman's workmanship. Take us for granted. Your journey to perfection starts with us, Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia and Chapin and beyond your expectations. CarolinaStoneCraftsman.com.
Home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
It's the place for sports.
And on the 107.5 The Game app. It's 1 o'clock. Time to talk football, and more football. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors on the Halftime Show, on the Game Network, and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Terry Ford, Tyler Head, David Ayer, halftime show here on the Game. We just yap football the entire 1 o'clock hour here on the Game, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Obviously, the Super Bowl is here. We'll get into that this hour. Kansas City still like a 1.5 point favorite. The line pretty much is holding.
It's one of the closest lines in Super Bowl history, actually.
Yeah. Look, again.
Which, I mean, you can't get much closer than that. There's been a few ones, but 1.5, that's pretty rare.
Look, Philly on paper, I said this yesterday, Philly on paper is the better team.
Yeah.
If you just go by, you write down the offense and the defense, and you look at both squads, Philadelphia has more talent. They just do. But, probably in the AFC, you can make a case there are teams in the AFC with better rosters than Kansas City. But who keeps winning these bleeping games, Tyler?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
You got 15, you're always going to have a chance. And,
yeah, exactly.
There's something to be said about a team that can, I don't count the last game of the regular season against them. That was their backups playing.
Didn't Mahomes start his brother in that? Didn't he start Mahomes' brother in that game?
They lost one game realistically in the regular season, and that was to a very good Buffalo team that they then avenged that loss in the playoffs. So really, they're almost perfect.
Yeah, and they're 1.5 point favorite. That shows you what the thought is on Philadelphia and how good the Eagles are, to be honest. I mean, Eagles are, again, if the Eagles win this game, I am not going to go, wow. Didn't see that coming.
Is Saquon Barkley the best overall player in this game? Just like don't think about position, just overall the best player on the field.
That's what I'm thinking
Saquon
about
Barkley?
Right now. Saquon Barkley, Chris Jones, the Kansas City defensive lineman who's an animal. Jalen Carter. AJ Brown. Yeah, you can make an argument to say just forget position. Just bet, if we were picking doing a pickup game and you and I were choosing, and one of us took Saquon Barkley first, I wouldn't be stunned.
Yeah.
Here's the sad part. As good as Patrick Mahomes is, there's this feeling that Patrick Mahomes isn't as good as he used to be. Because he's not throwing for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns anymore.
Yeah, well, the league's caught up to him.
Yeah, I mean, there's adjustments that have been made defensively against Mahomes. And by the way, it's not like he's got a bunch of elite. Put Patrick Mahomes at quarterback with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Saquon Barkley, and that offensive line.
Yeah, probably a little more efficient. Again, Travis Kelce is great, but he's aging. I mean, he keeps getting asked the retirement question every time he's in front of a microphone. There's a reason for that because he's not as crisp as he once was. Made some plays in the playoffs and obviously is stepping up at the right time. But Xavier Worthy is still a rookie,
he's a youngin'.
and he's had moments, but he's not not an elite wide receiver by any means.
Hopkins isn't what he used to be.
No.
Juju Smith-Schuster, not what he used to be.
They've got names. It's just not elite names.
Yeah, if you had DeAndre Hopkins in his prime, and that's a different conversation. You have a past his prime Hopkins. You have never really had but 1 year of his prime Smith-Schuster. Marquise Brown can't stay healthy. Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Travis Kelce, it feels like his best days are behind him, or maybe he's spending too much Swift time. I don't know. It's just the idea. If you put Mahomes with A.J. Brown, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, Devontae Smith, who is no slouch either, Dallas Goedert, a very good young tight end, Saquon Barkley, who can catch it out of the backfield like nobody's business, and the Philadelphia offensive line, arguably the best line in the game, put Patrick Mahomes there. Be good. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's my point on this. Look, I'm not saying Mahomes, that Mahomes hasn't maybe lost something. He's 29 years old. I don't think he has. But at the end of the day, look what's around him. You can only polish so many things to make them diamonds,
sure,
so to speak. So, 1.5 is Kansas City is a favorite over Philadelphia. All right, if we focus on the Gamecocks real quick. Matt Miller put out a 2-round mock draft, ESPN.com. This is interesting. Number 1 pick overall for the Tennessee Titans. I do not disagree with this. Abdul Carter, edge Penn State.
Man, watch him in those playoff games, even with a hurt shoulder.
One shoulder, and he's like just killing people. Abdul Carter.
He was better with one shoulder than you or I could have been with 12.
No doubt. Putting you and I together, like molding us together, and
molding us, we wouldn't weigh the same as him.
Know. Just Abdul Carter. See, I've said this all along. This is a draft where if you want to take a quarterback number 1, I hope you're right. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders number 1 overall if I'm the Titans.
This doesn't seem like the year to find your franchise quarterback. You have guys with a lot of skill that, I imagine whatever organization drafts them, Giants, whatever, maybe say, well, we get him here, we're going to bring him in, we're going to mold him into we want him to be, but you don't have a bona fide star day one.
No,
necessarily.
You're not sitting around going, you don't have a Joe Burrow in this draft or an Andrew Luck or anybody
saying, all right,
like that.
He's going to come in, we're going to hand him the reins, and we're going to be off and running.
Yeah. And so to me, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter is the pick, if it's me. And here it's Abdul Carter to Tennessee. The Browns, again, this is smart. You take Travis Hunter. You take the highest rated guy on this board. You don't reach for these quarterbacks who I don't think are worth reaching for. The Giants will take Cam Ward 3rd in this mock. Shedeur Sanders will go 6th to the Raiders. Now, again, the Raiders need a quarterback really bad because, again, another year of Uncle Rico. No, thank you.
The play style and the athleticism kind of fits what Chip Kelly has historically liked to do, so there could be something there. It's going to be a project, sure. It could work.
Yeah, you just need to. I mean, Brock Bowers is a heck of a weapon at tight end.
It's probably better than what you got right now.
Yeah,
so there's that.
To me, and again, are you going to rush Sanders on the field? Are you going to put him out there when he's not ready? Are you going to go and draft the pieces like offensive line and get some more talent in the receiving room to go with Brock Bowers? Those are all things you need to do. Same thing for Cam Ward. I mean, these are things you're going to have to do for these guys to make them what they can be, instead of just, doing like the Colts did with Anthony Richardson. Let's go out there and play and learn, figure it out.
Yeah, go out there till you get tired.
Yeah.
Then
remember,
come out.
The guy with the ball who's bent over, he's going to snap it to you. Just go do stuff.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Great philosophy, by the way. All right, so if you roll down this list some more, you will find at number 30, drafted by the Buffalo Bills in Matt Miller's mock, is Nick Emenwari.
Okay.
Basically, the little blurb written by Miller, getting more skill position options for quarterback Josh Allen will be a heavy consideration for Buffalo after it fell short to get to the Super Bowl again. But they also have to address a secondary that is too often out of place. Emenwari's a player scouts rave about once they see him in person, 6'3", 227, rare speed and range at deep safety with the power to charge downhill and erase running backs or mobile quarterbacks. I like that, erase them. 4 picks, including a pick 6, allowed a QBR of just 28.6 this past season. And so at number 30 for the Buffalo Bills would be Nick Emenwari.
I could see that. Again, need to definitely address defense, and that'd be a good fit.
Yeah, one of the things that's not talked about is Buffalo's defense was not what they've been the last few years at all.
No, and look, they dealt with injuries and stuff like that, but, it's easy to win games struggling on defense when your offense can score 35.
Yeah, and you have a quarterback that can do a lot of things like a Josh Allen. You go in the second round to number 48, the Miami Dolphins. You see the name T.J. Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina. And this did hurt last offseason. Miami had Christian Wilkins, a defensive lineman from Clemson, who was becoming a good NFL player. Wilkins went to free agency, got paid like nobody's business, and Miami struggled. Now, you bring in T.J. Sanders. No one's going to say he's going to be what Christian Wilkins was before he left, but you have a hole to fill in the interior of your defensive line. And again, a lot of people think Sanders, his grade will be around that part of the second round. So the grade and the value fits what also is going to be a need. So this could be a definite thing to keep your eyeball on when you get in the second round, where T.J. Sanders could land a place like that value-wise it fits, second round grade, and it fits also with the need of what the team has to go out and pick up. So there you go. T.J. Sanders, Nicky Manwari, Kyle Kennard. It's interesting. Remember, Kyle Kennard kind of tailed off a bit at the end of last season. And, his week at the Senior Bowl was a mixed bag. And I don't know if he's lost some traction, but I'm not seeing him as much in those first, second round conversations as I was. Doesn't mean he won't go in the second round. I still think there's a lot there for Kyle Kennard. And then we have a long way to go in the silly season until April. But right now, Kennard has been, I don't hear him as much as I hear about Sanders. For instance, Sanders had a really nice week. At the Senior Bowl. Yeah,
and I don't know if that's something mechanically or what with his technique that they saw at the Senior Bowl that maybe they didn't like, and obviously you're going to have an opportunity to go to the combine here in a couple months and improve on that, obviously. But you're right. I mean, not hearing as much about him coming away from last week as opposed to T.J. Sanders, who, again, like Kennard, decided to opt out of playing the game on Saturday to not give himself another opportunity to make a statement.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, look, I'm one of these people. Turn the tape. Forget the combine and forget all this other nonsense. Turn the tape on. Kennard, for 3/4 of the season, was a game wrecker. Absolute game wrecker. Now, again, when I was reading about him during the drills in the week, a little stiff. Maybe he needs to get stronger. But they liked his, get off on the snap, and they like his athleticism. There's just a question of how is he going to be able, strength-wise, to deal with really good left tackles or right tackles in the NFL. So we'll see. But, I think he's not going to last past the third round. I still could see someone taking him in the second round. There's no doubt. But anyway, so there you go with the Gamecocks regarding mock draft number 17 billion. Halftime show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head. We go football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. All right, up next. Every now and then, usually things, as I've been doing this for years and years and years, I've been doing sports talk since like 1894. That's where you say, no, Terry, you're too youthful looking to be around that long. Very few things bug me.
Okay.
I just ran into something earlier today, and I saw the headline, but I really didn't read it. But it bugs me. Because once again, like usual, who gets the short end of the stick? Fans. Talking about you, Matt Rule. We'll get to this next. David Dare steering the ship. Tyler Head, Terry Ford. It's a halftime show going up until 3 on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. And 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
NIL is more important than ever to success in college athletics. Our friends at Garnet Trust are trying to build the best NIL program in the country for South Carolina student athletes. Head on over to garnettrust.com where you can support Gamecock athletes, get access to exclusive content, and help build the best NIL program in the country.
Flowers and chocolates all
are okay, but insanely clean home from Zerorez Carpet Cleaning is sure to impress your loved one. Only Zerorez uses ZR water to clean your carpets and other surfaces without harsh chemicals. To make things sweeter, they leave zero residue so your carpets stay cleaner longer. From now until Valentine's Day, get 2 rooms for free when you book 2 rooms for only $119. Call and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stopped, opt out.
Your garage door could be a ticking time bomb. Seriously, did you know 20 to 30,000 garage door accidents happen every year in the U.S.? How does that even happen? Well, your garage door has 20 or more working parts and opens and closes 1,500 times a year. That's a lot of wear and tear. Don't wait until something breaks and you get stuck. Text TECH to 323232 right now for your ProCheck multi-point inspection only from OGD Overhead Garage Door. With thousands of 5-star Google reviews, OGD is the garage door expert in Columbia. OGD is available 24/7 to help you with same-day service. So if your garage door is broken, stuck, slow, or squeaky, text OGD, the only name you need for your garage door. Text TECH to 323232 right now and get an exclusive link to special limited time savings. Text the word TECH to 323232 now. Text TECH to 323232.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a student 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, contact 803-896-6480 or at willlougray.org.
Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union presents scenes from Palmetto Citizens job interviews.
Tell me, Emily, what makes you the right fit for our vice president of Getting Pumped role?
Well, I have 8 years of banking experience, and helping people get great rates makes me super excited.
Oh, can you elaborate?
Yeah, sometimes it's like a woo. Other times it's more of a no, yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
Palmetto Citizens. Feel the love. Federally insured by NCUA.
I'm excited about it. You know, these cutting edge things that are new in medicine now, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics. It works.
Henry Hinton decided to check out QC Kinetics regenerative treatments for his aching knees after seeing a close friend have amazing results without going under the knife.
I have a friend that started this, which is one of the reasons that I decided to do it. He could not play golf anymore, and he went to QC Kinetics and started having the treatments, and he's back golfing like 3 days a week. He couldn't play at all.
QC Kinetics gets you back to doing what you love, using your own natural biologics to help heal and restore damaged joints. Long-term relief that puts a guy back on the golf course.
You know, I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference. QC Kinetics works. I'm excited about it.
You're next. Start with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
We are rolling football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. All right, we'll be yapping, but here's some Roger Goodell here really soon, Dave. Get you ready. A little Roger Goodell. He did his State of the NFL presser at the Super Bowl, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. I want to hit this really quick. And this is Matt Rule was talking about canceling the spring game at Nebraska. You know, the game that brings 60,000 Cornhusker fans into the stadium in Lincoln.
Yep.
And that gives a passionate fan base that supports Nebraska football with their wallet a chance to come out for a lot cheaper price and watch the game. See the players. And it gives them a little football they can Jones on until you get to the real stuff, right?
Yep.
Well, Matt Rule it's really good. There's a really good chance there will be no spring game in Nebraska. And here's why on the surface. Matt Rule says, we televise the game, and other programs can look at our players and see which players they can try to poach and offer stuff to and tamper with, and tampering's everywhere, and people will come in and offer stuff to our players, and so we're just not going to televise a spring game. We're not going to have a spring game. That way nothing's on TV and nobody can take our players. Really? Seriously? First of all, you were 7-6, Bubba. I mean, there are people who want your quarterback.
Sure.
But let's not get sideways here. It always, whenever this, look, could Matt Rule be that paranoid? Yeah, he was in the NFL, and that breeds paranoia and everything. But do you really think that putting the spring game on TV is going to get all your key players possibly poached?
In his mind.
Yeah, and to me, it's ridiculous. I mean, what's making him mad is tampering, and this is his hammer about tampering, because he went on and on about the tampering. He goes, it's tampering, it's everywhere, it's rampant. Yeah, duh, it's never going away, by the way. So you're going to now stop the spring game in a market where the spring game actually matters. If you had 17 people coming to the spring game and no one cared, don't have it.
Yeah.
So what? But in Lincoln, Nebraska, you have 60,000 people that show up for this thing, and they're only paying like $5, $10, $15 for it, and students get in free, whatever. So it's not like a cash cow. But how much of that is it too? The university, do we really want to put this thing on? We're only making $10, $15 a ticket. Students are getting in for free. Is it worth our while? Because everything goes back to money these days.
Yeah.
So is it financially worth our while to deal with a spring game? That's probably running through their mind too. But anyway, who gets screwed at the end are the fans that want to come out and see the spring game in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, they're going to set up these special invite practices you can go watch that aren't televised. Again, like always today, these programs grabbing all the control they can of anything, right?
Yeah.
And limiting access. We started this with COVID. COVID was a great excuse to limit access, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them have continued down this road, just like when you go somewhere, we're out of sugar, supply chain issues. That was 4 years ago, dude.
I think we're good now.
I think you can get sugar here. But they use this now, anything to limit the access. But who loses? Fans.
Yeah. And I'm struggling to think, because, look, everybody loses players in the winter cycle and the spring cycle when it comes to transfer portal. What high-level player did they lose last year after their spring game, seemingly, that would be kind of the catalyst for making this happen?
Yeah, I think this is a soapbox to scream about tampering.
Yeah.
This also, though, is that door you've cracked open to start limiting more access. Because again, Matt Rule's from the NFL. He's paranoid. God forbid somebody sitting in the stands might be a scout from another team, or a guy's got a big suitcase of money ready to steal all my players. I think these guys in general, like Matt Rule, want to limit the access of you seeing anything. Anyway, we go to the spring game here. You're not showing you anything. Remember Dow Loggins' quote?
Yeah, it's vanilla.
Vanilla.
Yeah, it's like, is that your fault for putting too much on tape at the spring game by running something too dynamic? Like, dial it back.
Yeah.
And look, we know happens here, happens pretty much everywhere. After the spring game, which usually concludes your portion of spring practice, you as a coach and staff, you sit down with the players and say, hey, here's where you stand. Right now, we think you're going to be a starter. We think you're going to be a backup. We think you're going to be on scout team, whatever it may be. And there's going to be a lot of guys that hear that and say, well, I want to go see if I can find playing time somewhere else. So, of course, you're going to have guys leaving. And maybe there's somebody I'm not thinking of. But, again, I can't think of anybody that, wow, I can't believe he left Nebraska in April after the spring game, and that would justify this reasoning.
Already? Wow, we didn't know that guy was any good. We watched the Nebraska spring game. Now we want him.
Again, like, what are you seeing in the spring game? This scrimmage between your own team that tells you, wow, this guy's a superstar that you didn't either already know based on what he'd done the year before or see him on his high school tape and say the same thing. Like, again, I don't know what you're gaining from spring game tape that really just sways your opinion on somebody that much.
I just think, once again, it's another way to gain control and limit access, because these guys are all control freaks, and they want to limit access for as many folks as possible. And, yeah, okay, we're going to have some practices, and we'll invite the fans to come see the practices. Okay, fine. But it's not the spring game. And I know that spring games in some places are going away, and I get it. If you have a spring game and you don't get enough folks showing up for it, and it costs you way too much to put it on compared to what you're making, or like here, it's free.
Yeah.
And I get in the world of, oh, God, we've got to give $20 million a year to athletes. The world's going to end. That, everybody's looking to tighten their belt. Because I've said this to you a million times. Colleges and universities, yes, they are beacons of higher learning. But you know what they also are? Businesses. And these businesses don't want to lose $20 million.
Well, and if they're not making money, guess what? They're not going to be businesses much longer.
Right. So they're not just going to go, well, I guess we make $20 million less next year. Of course they're not. They're going to look at any way they can to save money. And if your spring game costs you money and no one's really coming out to it, and you want to stop it for that reason and just have practices, okay, fine. I'm going to tell you what to do. But if you have an actual spring game that people give some kind of whatever about, like in Lincoln, Nebraska, you're hurting the fans.
By the way,
just are.
You think the access to those practices is going to be free?
Tyler, what do you think? And that's the thing. It's just like I was reading the Nebraska spring game. It's like students get in free. There's like $5 tickets, 10, 15 or whatever, and if you want the club level, it's 25. So you're not making a ton of money on the spring game in Lincoln. That started making my wheels turn in my head. It's like, are you really... Matt Rule is paranoid about access in general and wants to cut access because he's a control freak.
So let's say the average person going to the Nebraska spring game is contributing, what, $8, $10?
Go 10, make it easy.
Okay. So
10 times, let's go 60,000.
60,000 times 10, $600,000 is the potential profit you're making off of this, which is pennies compared to what a normal home football game in the fall is going to make.
And think about this. How much does it cost you to put on the spring game?
With lights, production, electricity, all that kind of stuff.
Staffing crew.
Obviously the concessions, all those kind of things. Maybe you break even. I don't know.
And is it worth your while to do it financially? So you got the combination to me of a control freak and a university looking at their finances.
It's one of those things that's just existed in college sports for a long time that I don't know how many people have really sat and looked and said, why do we do this? And maybe this is Matt Rule's way of kind of opening that can of worms to a lot of other programs saying, maybe we should stop doing this too.
He's got a point about this tampering thing.
Yeah. Which again, that's the blanket they're going to hide under.
Sure.
But say, well, we don't want, and again, fans are afraid of getting their talent poached too. So you can kind of fearmonger this a little bit. Like, well, if you don't want us to lose our talent, then we can't have this spring game and all this kind of stuff. So I imagine there's going to be a lot more coaches that are going to come out and say, that Rule makes a really good point. We're going to not have a spring game either.
I can see it happening. And that's what's going to start here. And once again, the people who suffer are who?
The fans.
The fans, like always. Just give us your money and shut your face. Especially in this NIL world, and I know that there'll be a cap where the NIL isn't as, dire, but still, you got fans, you're asking for money from them a month or money for them in general to support the program through the NIL space.
I got an idea. We play the spring game, but everybody has to play a different position. So Sellers becomes a wide receiver. Harbor's the quarterback. I don't know. Faison can be the center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So nobody puts anything on tape.
That way you can't see anything.
Exactly. Oh, no. Sellers is a really good wide receiver. Now we're worried about him getting poached for that.
He might go to the transfer portal as a wide out. Just makes me shake my head. All right, we'll hear from Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner. You're going to be stunned what he says about the officials and maybe the whole wink toward the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't believe Goodell said what he said. Do you like how I did that?
Yeah.
Halftime show. We yap nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford here on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Choose iMart Express and see the moment.
I saw my son grinning as he rounded third during his first home run.
My 4K TV finally looks it, just in time for the big game.
I could see my daughter smile through her veil as she walked down the aisle.
The Grand Canyon looks way bigger without the blurriness.
My toddler's new glasses let him meet his favorite teddy all over again.
Get 2 pairs of single vision glasses starting under $40, or 2 pairs of progressives starting under $80 with free same-day speed. iMart Express, see the moment.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Some mornings have me struggling to get out of bed. But thanks to McDonald's, now I have 3 delicious reasons to psych myself up for the day ahead. With the 2 for $5 mix and match deal, I can choose from the breakfast classics Mickey D's is known for. From the sizzling sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, to a sausage McMuffin with egg, to a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Ooh, what you waiting for? Get out of bed, sleepyhead, and make your way to Mickey D's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Flowers and chocolates are okay, but insanely clean home from Zerorez carpet cleaning is sure to impress your loved one. Only Zerorez uses ZR water to clean your carpets and other surfaces without harsh chemicals. To make things sweeter, they leave 0 residue so your carpets stay cleaner longer. From now until Valentine's Day, get 2 rooms for free when you book 2 rooms for only $119. Call and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, or book online at ZerorezColumbia.com. Bill Gunner here with the mortgage guru Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. If the new year has you in need of a guru in this market, Jacob will get you taken care of. Just a few years ago, he helped me, and I personally recommend him and First Palmetto Bank, who's owned and operated right here in the Midlands. Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. So if you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call today, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Bill. It's nice to have the band back together. Interest rates have stabilized, as well as the local housing market. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products that help homebuyers keep payments down. Also, if you're considering building a home, we have a no-nonsense construction loan that fits your needs. If the new year brings change, we can help you. Give me a call, 803-719-1005.
Great news on the housing market having stabilized. So that makes it a good time to buy?
Absolutely. That sums it up, Bill.
Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My MLS number is 198432. First Palmetto is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network.
Now, what we're talking about is nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic and Windows and Doors on the Halftime Show. Circle back to the NFL. Roger Goodell doing his State of the League presser. This one's so good. Let's start with the best one. Cut 1, Dave. Roger Goodell was asked about the perception that the Kansas City Chiefs get preferential treatment from the refs.
Well, this sort of reminds me a little bit of the script, right? That I write a script, and I have the script for the entire season. Listen, I think from a lot of those theories are things that happen in social media, and they get a new life. As you say, it's not your theory, but it's out there. Nobody wants it to be their theory. And so I understand it. I think it reflects a lot of the fans' passion. And I think it also is a reminder for us how important officiating is. And I think the men and women that officiate in the NFL are outstanding. They have the highest possible standards. That's ridiculous theory for anyone who might take it seriously. But at the end of the day, it's something we always have to continue to work on. How do we make our officiating better at all times? And if you look at the Chiefs' record, which I think is an amazing thing, people talk about the competitiveness of our league. The Chiefs, with their 15 wins, 15-2 this year, 11 of those 15 games were within one score. And I think that talks about the competitiveness of our game and the importance of how we officiate it, but also the competitiveness of how we play it.
And it shows how much you cheat for the Chiefs because they're winning all the close games and you're getting all the calls, Goodell.
I was going to say, I don't think including that part about them winning all those close games helps quell people that believe that there's, a conspiracy involving the league trying to get the Chiefs to win more. Because, because if you have controversial calls in close games, that can tilt it in their favor.
That was the funniest part. I mean, Goodell was kicking it till then.
Yeah, he was doing it pretty good.
He was doing the spin job really nice on it because that's really, Roger, let's just be honest here. Any of us could be commissioner of the NFL, and the NFL is going to be just fine.
Sure. When Goodell gets in front of a microphone, you never know what's going to happen.
The thing about him is he's good at spinning. And that's why the 32 guys keep paying him gobs of money to be the commissioner.
Sure.
To me, the commissioner is this. The number one job of the commissioner, there's two jobs. Number one is you do what the owners tell you to do, Jerky, because we signed your paycheck. And one of the things we're going to tell you to do, Jerky, is we're going to put you out in front of those microphones, and you got to take all the bullets.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
You are the deflector.
Yes. And you got to take blame for stuff that's our fault. But you're the guy. But we're going to pay you an incredibly stupid amount of money to do it. So go have at it.
If I handed you, which I think you make like $44 million a year. If I handed you $44 million, said you're going to get punched in the face repeatedly every day, nonstop for hours on end, would you do it? Sure.
Raj would sign me up. I have a punchable face. And so that's what Goodell is for, is he's to spin things. And up until the end there, he's like, it just tells you how passionate our fans are, that so many of them think the games are fixed and they're rigged, and I write the script. And it shows you how important our officials are. And it shows you how seriously the officials take it all. But then he gets to the point of the close games, and that's like, Rod, you should have stopped.
And to me, and again, I've said this before, I'm not somebody that believes that, he sends out a memo to every official before the season. All right, make sure the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and before that it was make sure the Patriots won the Super Bowl. I just think you have poor officiating across the league as a whole, and that's something that he gets asked about that every single year and finds a way to word salad his way around, really giving you any insight into making things better, because it just kind of continues year after year every year. I just think you have the best and most profitable professional league in American sports that has nickel and dime officiating.
And that's really what it comes down to, is you don't want to admit that, we got part-time officials. I always hear this, well, they're only going to work like 3 months a year and you're going to pay them full-time? Yeah, I am. You know why? I'm $1 billion business.
You know what? And they can file papers in the league office the other 9 months of the year.
They can, you know what they can do? They can drive Roger around. They can be his Uber driver.
Or you know what? They can study the rule book backwards, forwards, sideways, front ways.
Come in for training once a month.
Exactly. There are. It's not just, hey, just work from August to January or whatever it may be. Like, no, there's ways that you can incorporate these guys to do other things throughout the year. But you're literally making billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. It's insane to me that we've not gotten full-time officials yet.
No, it's ridiculous. And, okay, out of 32 teams, how many fan bases think that their team gets screwed by officiating?
Every single one. Even single one. Even Carolina. Every fan base kept the Chiefs fans feel this way too. Every fan base believes the league is out to get them, that the league hates their team, doesn't want their team to be successful for whatever reason they put out there. But if you watch enough football, if you just watch NFL all day long on a Sunday, on a Thursday, whatever it may be, you see there's bad calls everywhere, calls that go against and for every single team. It's an officiating problem, not a conspiracy.
No, the officials just need to be better and use your technology to officiate the games better. That's the other part.
It becomes more glaring with the Chiefs because guess what? They've been the best team. They play in the most big games. The spotlight shines on them more than anything else. So when you see calls like the terrible call of the 4th down that looked like Josh Allen got it, and they, one official's coming in saying he got it, one official's coming in saying he didn't got it, I don't think that's then conspiring and saying, okay, well, we got to make sure the Chiefs win this game, so we're going to mark it where you had it a line short. I just think they're terrible at their jobs.
Yeah. I don't think Roger Goodell jumped on the microphone in New York to the official in Kansas City and said, Chiefs get the call. Why? They got to be in the Super Bowl.
Because you know why? Because you know why? Joe Schmo, that's the line judge, was working 9 to 5 in the Amazon warehouse Monday through Friday, hopped on a plane out to Kansas City on Saturday and called that game, and was back in the Amazon warehouse on Monday.
Wouldn't it be great if he was wearing his Amazon gear on the field?
Exactly.
It'd be so good. Well, that's the deal here and the technology. You've got technology. We all can watch 50 replays of every important play in a game from every angle. The idea that you can't, as a head coach, you can't throw the little red flag, but only on certain things. No, you still get 3 a game. You get 3 a game where you can throw the little flag out to question a call, but you can question everything. Roughing the passer, pass interference. Question: how many times have we seen these judgment calls look ridiculous and atrocious, but you can't question? They gave you the chance to do the pass interference a few years ago, but they rigged that. They did rig that system.
That was something that was done because of the Saints and the Rams that was very clearly pass interference that didn't get called. The officiating union or whatever was upset about it, and so they changed the rule, and then they would refuse to overturn it even in very clear instances. So they took the rule away, and again, it was a dumb 1-year experiment that we never knew was probably never going to work. I will say what they've done this year, and Goodell did talk about this a little bit yesterday as well. They have opened it up to where you can have replay assist on some things that can help get more calls right. And one thing that I will pound the table on over and over again, especially when it comes to what they deem to be the unnecessary roughness for illegal hits. So hits up high to the helmet and all that kind of stuff. I get erring on the side of caution. I get at a bang-bang play, it looks like it's egregious. He led with the crown of his helmet or whatever it may be, and then we see on the replay, well, no, it wasn't. It was just a fast play, hit him with the shoulder, and it's clean. But over and over again, we see these things have to stand because there's no way to overturn it. At least in college, they don't get it right every time. You can at least review those kind of plays. That's something, face mask, those kind of things that need to be added to this review system in the NFL.
I think this whole ridiculousness of when you sack a quarterback and you're in the middle of putting him on the ground and God forbid you fall on some part of his body and they're throwing flags everywhere, like, you're Keanu Reeves from The Matrix or something. It's asinine. You should be able to go back and say, I want to challenge that.
Listen, if you rear back and Nick Fairley him into the ground and try and drive him to China, sure, that can be a penalty. But 99% of the time, what do they deem it? Unnecessary roughness, forcibly driving the quarterback into the ground. It's nothing.
Right, or falling on top of him, the Tony Saragusa rule when Saragusa flattened Rich Gannon.
I'm sorry, that 350-pound defensive lineman is just supposed to levitate in the air, right?
Right, exactly. And
those guys are so light and nimble.
They're like ballerinas, they are.
Yeah.
All right, here's Roger Goodell. One more, Dave. Cut 2 on using technology for spotting the ball because of the controversy in the Buffalo-Kansas City AFC Championship game.
We tested, I think, in the preseason this past year, on being able to use that technology. It is complicated. Obviously, you have a lot of humanity that interferes potentially with some of that, at least from a camera angle standpoint. But you also have a shape of the ball that is different, and it's about where the ball is, not where the individual is necessarily. So there are a combination of factors are there, but I do think that technology will exist sometime in the future. We're continuing a lot with our partners is how to advance that as quickly as possible so we can get to that place.
And look, it is funny in this world we have of technology, right? Siri, where's the ball spotted? I mean, Alexa, where's the ball spotted? All these things we haven't with our technological advances. that we still, in the biggest sport in America, rely on the left foot or right foot and the eyesight of an official to spot a football. And Roger Goodell said, and I kind of hate to say this because it makes you feel weird, Goodell's right about one thing. This isn't as cut and dry as put a sensor in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And because, again, the ball's shaped weird. People are piling on top of each other. The ball moves.
All it takes is the tip of the ball to be over the line, and that's first down.
Yeah.
And if your device is in the center of the football, that could show you something different. So there is validity to it, what he's saying.
Yeah, they just have to. And again, you have to make sure you get it right, and you put it in for fun in preseason games to see if it works. But you just keep going and hammering on it until you can get some type of technology that makes sense in spotting the football. And eventually, I think you'll get to that point, but it's not as easy as fans think. I get people, I got a buddy of mine during that Kansas City Buffalo game. Well, they just have a sensor in the ball. Dude, I get you, but it's not as simple as just you've got 22 human beings knocking the snot out of each other.
Yeah.
You've got an oblong ball. You've got it moving and twisting everywhere, even after the play. It's not as simple as just put a chip in the ball.
Yeah.
But they do have to get to some point where you can advance how you do this to where you are now. To where you are now is just, John Madden always said, right foot, left foot. Where he runs in with the right foot, left foot. That's where you're going to know where the ball's spotted.
Yep.
All right, football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Let's get our Firehouse sub-text the hour next, 803-404-6100 on the Halftime Show. With David Air punching the buttons.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. Jalen Hurts said that the Eagles' Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs 2 years ago lit a fire under him. He was nearly perfect in that game, throwing a touchdown and running for 3 more, but over the last 2 seasons, his production has slipped, almost as if the Eagles don't fully trust him. But Hurts is coming off a great NFC title game. To knock off KC, they need to believe in him and hope once again he plays at the highest level on the biggest stage. I'm Andrew Perloff.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Injured in a car wreck? Need your check? It's easy. Dial 1-800-ALL-7s now.
The Anastapula Law Firm has been recovering millions for their clients for over 30 years. Whether it's a slip and fall, car accident, or any other issues that have resulted from an accident, Anastapula Law Firm can help. Their South Carolina personal injury attorneys have experience fighting for the rights of their clients. Remember, don't scream. Call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s now. Herb Glass is responsible for this ad, and cases are handled at 32 Ann Street, Charleston, South Carolina, 29403. Paid endorsement, not actually client. Results may vary.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay. It's GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a student 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, contact 803-896-6480 or at willlougray.org.
Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Time to check the old Firehouse Subtext the hour as we roll football and nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. What's on the Firehouse Subtext line there, bub?
Nameless texter says, poor officiating in the SEC, worst in the world.
Yeah.
You know, we should seriously debate where the worst officiating actually is.
Oh.
Because there's a lot of strong candidates.
Oh, well, ready? It's easier to talk about that than it is where's the good officiating. That's just the thing. I say that because, again, the SEC officiating, they'll talk about ACC officials, Big 12 officials, Big 10. Everybody stinks. Everybody's officials suck. And part of this is that, once again, you're asking part-time people do a part-time job. They got a full-time job when they're not doing the part-time job. Also, you're asking people, 40s and 50s roughly, to chase around a bunch of people in the prime of their athletic career moving faster than they've ever moved before.
And it's getting faster and faster.
And you're asking them to make split-second judgment decisions in flick of a finger.
And I'm not saying that the job is easy by any means, so I'm not saying, well, should be able to get that right every single time. Like, it's a challenging job, which is all the more reason why you need to put these people in positions where that is their primary focus. So when it comes time to make these calls, make these decisions, they're going to be put in a better spot to get it right more often than not.
Because this is such a difficult job, and it is. I mean, we make fun of it and have fun with it, and everybody gets annoyed. It ain't easy. So what you need to do is put them in the best possible position to succeed, which would be make them full-time, put them into a ton of training, and also give them the help of the latest technology so when they do make a split-second decision in the flick of a finger, when they're running around with people who are 25 years younger and a lot more athletic than them, they'll have help with the technology to make sure it is right or to fix it if it's not. That's the issues. Oh, every league is good. Every fan in every league, pro and college, will talk about how bad their officials are.
Yeah.
Heck, there are these numbskulls that scream and yell and moan about the youth referees and officials. Poor guy just worked all day at the we were joking about Buc-ee's. Some poor guy working at Buc-ee's all day and then goes to officiate like 10-year-old basketball.
That's where the conspiracies start, right? Because we all play on that little league team where when the call didn't go your way, one of the parents on your team said, well, I hear that other team slid him a 20 before the game, and it grows from there.
Or doesn't his cousin's next door neighbor's mom have a kid on that team?
Yeah, and like the for whatever reason, the league hates your 11-year-old little league baseball team.
Because, it's easier, and look, sometimes it's legit. There are some games that bad calls directly affect the outcome. I'm not going to say it never happens. That's what I always say. Do everything you can to keep the game out of the hands of the guys wearing the Foot Locker shirts. Because it's a 50-50 flip of the coin and roll the dice if they're going to get it right or wrong. Keep yourself out of that position, right? But there are calls that affect games when you screw it up and get it wrong and you have no backup with the technology, and it can affect the outcome of a game. Yes, it is true. There is no doubt about it. But we as fans, we can go to sleep better if we say the officials, the umpire, the refs screwed us.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to go to sleep thinking that than this. Ready? our team wasn't good enough.
Yeah, because it puts it in a place where you don't have control over it, and you can almost kind of write it off by saying, well, if they hadn't have done that to my team, then we would have won the game. And then again, like you said, that can help you sleep better at night, and we all do it. It's all a coping mechanism. But again, it's so funny if you poll every fan base around the 32 teams in the NFL, that's weird. They all believe that the league hates them and the league does not want them to succeed.
Sure, every NFL or college market I've ever worked in, that fan base thinks the officials of whatever league or conference they're in hates them and wants to screw them over. Oh, absolutely.
And you know what? If you're only watching your team, it makes a lot of sense to you. Sure. But if you watch the entire league, you see that's not the case.
I used to always laugh when I was back home. Every fan in the city of Baltimore thinks that the NFL hates them and the officials hate them and they're trying to screw them. I say, wow, so they only let Baltimore win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They hate them so much.
Yeah.
And the league loves the Cowboys. Why have the Cowboys not been to a Super Bowl in 30 years?
That is my thing. If the league could really control who won the Super Bowl every year, there is no reason why in my lifetime the Cowboys have not at least been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they haven't been to an NFC Championship game since 1995.
Yeah.
If the league was trying to fix it, now I've talked to Cowboy fans who do this when they put on their tinfoil hat. The league's mad at Jerry
on top
Jones.
of the cowboy hat?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That the league hates Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones has gotten over on the league in business deals.
Mm-hmm.
So the league wants to stick it to the Cowboys because Jerry Jones has found a way to get around how the NFL does business by getting his own revenue streams. So they hate Dallas. That's why. You feel better now? So even Cowboy fans have found a way to say the league screws them.
It's insane.
But that's just it. And it makes us feel better if we can blame the anonymous zebras and refs and officials and put it on them, and then we can go to bed. But then, like this conspiracy in Major League Baseball with the umpire that's out right now, that just leads to more tinfoil hat wearing.
It's never going to go away.
No, of course not. But when you have, I don't know what this investigation is going to lead to in Major League Baseball. The umpire's deleting text messages.
Yeah, that's a bad look.
Sign, Tyler.
If you're not guilty and this evidence can help prove that you're not guilty, I don't know why you delete it.
Really not. And by the way, if you delete stuff like text messages, they can still get them, right?
They can. It's not as easy. There's a backdoor way to go through the app or whatever, but it's not necessarily gone forever.
No, and I'm guessing those investigators probably have access to that type of technology.
Well, darn, he deleted them. Guess we got to stop now.
Investigation over. All right, what's trending at 2? Coming up from Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions, Terry Ford, Tyler Head. We are rolling the halftime show. David Dare steering the ship. We're going till 3 here on the game.
.1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Together, let's drive.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, Cato's Power Equipment. Y'all, it's the season of love. And while there's nothing wrong with chocolate or flowers, the team at Cato's wants to help make the grass cutter in your life feel a little special. So say I love you with the new Toro or Gravely Zero Turn. Durable and dependable, reliable and strong. Get your dreamy loved one the lawnmower of their dreams. Come see us today at Cato's Power Equipment.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get all this behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. To get the best results for our clients, we stay on top of the law and the IRS rules and regulations. It's important to us to get you back on track and in compliance legally without worry for your future. At the Ecton Law Firm, we've handled hundreds of cases for everyday, hardworking people like you right here in the Carolinas. Don't face the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. The first visit is completely free and confidential. You'll meet with a licensed attorney in person at our office in Irmo, just off I-26. If you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. Carolinas, if you have an IRS issue, you need a local attorney. You need me, John Ecton.
Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
The best selection of new Chevys. Right now. No hassle, no ridiculous add-on stickers. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
It's the place for sports.
And on the 107.5 The Game app. What's trending at 2 on the Halftime Show, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions on the Game Network and 107.5 The Game app.
What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry, Gamecock Traditions, here on the Halftime Show on the Game. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford hanging out with you. And you can check out the Gamecock Traditions over-under contest. You go to 1075thegame.com. You just go to our little fancy media promo reel flippy thingy. See, I got them all in that time. And it just keeps moving. And when you see Gamecock Traditions over-under contest, click on it. Every week we have a new one. This week it's Joyce Edwards versus Texas this Sunday, over-under 15.5 points. First time they played, she scored 10.
Yep.
But she's been consistently scoring 15 or over here lately.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your deal. You pick over or under the number. You fill out the little entry deal. Click submit. If you do get it right, you'll go in the pool of folks who do correctly predict the over-under. And Gamecock Traditions will pull a name, and you could win yourself a gift card. So the Gamecock Traditions 107.5 The Game over-under contest. All right, so if you look at the college football playoff thing we were talking about with Andy Staples, Andy picked the college football playoff already. Here we are in February. Andy put together his way too early bracket. Andy in the first round has Tulane being the group of 5 team taking on Ohio State, the 5 seed. Andy even said, look, man, trying to figure out the group of 5 champion, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, you're throwing darts at the board.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Tulane was in the running until they lost to Memphis on Thanksgiving. So they've been a team that had a couple 10-plus win seasons. the years leading into that. So you kind of assume, okay, they're probably going to be around that good again this upcoming season. And Boise's obviously losing generational running back in Ashton Genty. So that makes sense. I mean, I can't think of a better option right now.
Right. And really, Andy put it on the idea, yes, sure, Tulane lost their quarterback and their top running back in the portal, but they do have a coach everybody loves in John Summerall.
Yep.
So Tulane has been put in here against Ohio State, and obviously Andy has Ohio State winning. Yeah, look, the Buckeyes have lost a lot. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Ohio State's lost both their coordinators. They've lost a lot of talent on both sides of the ball.
Placing the quarterback.
But it's still Ohio State, right?
Yep, still Ohio State. And they've gotten to the point where you just give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, all right, even on a bad year, they're probably no worse than 10-2.
The other game, number 11, Florida takes on Notre Dame. Putting Florida in, even Andy said it's a big swing, but we've been saying this about South Carolina, Lenore Sellers. A lot of people love DJ Lagway.
It's because he's a homer.
Yep, absolutely.
Played for Florida.
Staples. So he puts Florida in, and he thinks that the talent they have, they'll be able to navigate through the schedule, and they're trending in the right direction with recruiting classes and things of that nature. Feels like Billy Napier's, he can actually sit in his chair in his office now.
Yeah.
For right now.
Yeah.
So Andy puts Florida in, but you know what this does? This is another thing of there's expectation of Florida that Billy got through the tough patch.
It's like, all right, congratulations. You did better than we thought you were going to. You won 8 games and didn't get fired. All right, now do better next year. Like the expectations do not go way down there. And like DJ Lagway impressed a lot of people last year. Dealt with some injuries, but down the stretch in those games they won against LSU and against Ole Miss, he was obviously a big reason why that ended up happening. And he's probably going to go into this year thought to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC. So expectations come along with him, and we'll see if he can step up to that. Again, you're obviously playing the same exact 8 teams you played this past year, so we'll see how they fare. But we went from thinking he was going to be fired to, at least in the mind of Andy Staples, maybe making the playoff.
But by the way, if they only win 6 games next year, do you have a new head coach in Gainesville in 2026?
Probably. You bought yourself one more year. You got the vote of confidence from Scott Strickland, but you go 6-6 again. That's because that'd be 3 seasons of that or worse. It's probably time to move on.
All right, but and Andy has Notre Dame winning that game. Then South Carolina, Penn State. South Carolina's a 10 seed. Penn State's a 7 seed. Andy picks the Gamecocks to upset Penn State. It was really funny. He says in here about what he's done to James Franklin, and I'm really sorry, James. Sorry to do this to you. So South Carolina would upset Penn State and move on to the quarters. The other quarterfinal winner will be between Georgia and Illinois. Georgia an 8 seed in this thing. Illinois a 9, coming off a 10-win season, and Andy would take Georgia to knock off Illinois to move on to the quarters. And it's interesting what Andy talked about with Illinois. I mean, not Illinois, but Georgia. Looking at the quarterback situation, Georgia did not go to the portal.
No, they did not. In fact, they lost a quarterback in the portal.
Basically, they told Carson Beck to kick rocks.
Yeah, well, that's 2 quarterbacks in the portal if you count Rashada as well.
So they believe in Gunnar Stockton because he drives a pickup truck.
Yeah, no AC. He's from Georgia, born and bred on the soil.
So they're going to ride and die with Gunnar Stockton.
Now, here's the thing, and he mentions Ryan Puglisi. There's a lot of people that are very high on him. He's a 4-star kid coming in last year's class. I'm not saying he's going to go in there and steal a job, but I think he could give Stockton an interesting run for that starting position. So I don't think it's an over and done thing that Stockton's going to win the job.
Quarterfinals, Ohio State, BYU in the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, Andy's taking Ohio State here. Even though putting BYU in, because that's a Big 12, even he said trying to pick the Big 12 champ is almost as tough as trying to pick the Group of 5 champ.
Well, and they were in the driver's seat for much of the season until they lost 2 out of their last 3 at the very end. And again, that's kind of the nature of what the Big 12 was this year. You had, 6 teams that were still in the running in the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So it's probably going to be a lot of the same next year.
And so Andy takes Ohio State in that quarter. Clemson, Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Clemson is the 3 seed coming out of the ACC. Andy talks about adding Tom Allen as defensive coordinator. The offense seemed to have gotten better under Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator. Kate Klubnik is back. Young receivers with talent. So Andy's like, Clemson's not backdooring their way in this time. They're legitimately, going to win the ACC and move on as a 3 seed. But Andy picks Notre Dame to win the game. because now, ready? Notre Dame knows how to win these games. Isn't that interesting?
What a difference a year can make when it comes to perception of a program. And credit to Marcus Freeman for what he's done and getting him to this point where, oh man, you get them in a big game, they're gonna choke, they're gonna fall short. Not anymore.
Nope. Then we get to the Rose Bowl, where number 2 Oregon will take on number 10 South Carolina. And Andy has Oregon winning that game. Now again, Oregon new quarterback in Dante Moore. They brought in some offensive linemen and others in the portal because Oregon lost some folks too. But Oregon, being the 2 seed and the Big Ten champion, would take out South Carolina. So now you have Oregon in the quarters, you have Notre Dame in the quarters, and you have Ohio State. And then you will have Texas beating Georgia, according to Andy. And it's all about Arch Manning.
Yes.
I mean, look, let's be honest here. 2 things will be said about this. A, that people think Arch Manning is better than Quinn Ewers. And B, that Arch Manning is a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
That's really what is pumping the machine for Texas.
Arch Manning is either going to live up to the expectations of being a generational talent or he's going to be able to bust. I really don't think there can be an in-between with this guy.
Yeah, I don't see him being
It's like he's good. He's not great. Yeah. He's not awful. Like he's either going to be amazing or he's going to be bad.
Disappointing. Yeah. Right. Semifinals, Notre Dame, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. Notre Dame, Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Andy has Notre Dame beating Oregon. Ready? Once again, I'm going with the team that has won a bunch of these games over a team that has won one of them. All of a sudden, Notre Dame is this grizzled, gritty group of winners.
It's so funny.
It is hilarious, isn't it? But I'll be honest with you about Dan Lanning. There's no offense. I mean, Dan Lanning's doing a really nice job at Oregon. Last year, number 1 team in the country. But they went into the Rose Bowl and got curb stomped by a team they beat earlier in the year at home.
For Dan Lanning, as he goes into year number 4, they've taken small steps forward each year. 2023, they made it to the Big 12 or Pac-12 championship game, lost to Washington, obviously lost them in the regular season as well. This year, they run through the table and win the Big 10 championship, but they get their doors blown off once they get into that big playoff game by Ohio State. So the next year, the progression is, and according to this, they would do that, win at least one playoff game, which, again, you have the talent that you have. You should probably win more than that. But if you're at least winning one of those games, you're taking another small step in the right direction.
And to be fair, we looked at Ryan Day this way until Ryan Day won a national championship. And that's just, look, fair or not, that's the way we look at these guys. Until you actually get to the top of the mountain, we question if you can get to the top of the mountain. Yep. It's just simple.
Yep.
The other game, Ohio State and Texas in the Peach Bowl. I love this. Andy goes, you can bet your bleep Steve Sarkisian isn't calling another toss play at the goal line. He has Texas beating Ohio State. Then you have Texas, Notre Dame. That grizzled group of winners that is Notre Dame. Andy has Texas beating Notre Dame to win the national championship. And again, it goes back to Arch Manning.
By the way, he also has South Carolina in the 2026 national or college football playoff as well.
Look at that guy.
If you scroll down to the bottom, it's not. It's not as detailed. But
interesting. Yep, I see it.
Thinks pretty highly of him.
How about this? The Clemson, South Carolina winner versus number 1 Texas in the Sugar Bowl.
A rematch.
How about that?
How would that go over?
I tell you, obviously we're hoping and what we're seeing and the expectation is South Carolina is going to start trending in the direction of being a perennial program that's sniffing around the college football playoff, right?
Right.
Which is very cool, obviously. Here's the other part about it as well. Is if Clemson does stay at this level, because a lot of people think that adding Tom Allen as defensive coordinator really is going to help the Clemson defense get back to being the Clemson defense that it was under Venables. If you have these two programs at this kind of a level fighting for college football playoff berths, and then you have that, and of course you have a showdown once a year, how much fun is that going to be?
Oh, it's going to be a blast. Look, this has finally turned back into a rivalry the past couple of years because you've had parity of them trading wins, which, again, if one team's dominating like Clemson's done priorly for the past decade, it's not very fun because you kind of know what the outcome is. But now that we get a little bit more back and forth, and God, if you had a Palmetto Bowl either here or at Memorial Stadium in the playoffs, oh my God, I can't imagine that atmosphere.
It'd be insane, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be insane. All right. Ohio State, they're looking for an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Let's hit the old cut list here, Dave. Let's go to Ryan Day. That would be cut 5 on having to replace both of his coordinators.
Yeah, there's no question. And you know, like, you're excited for guys. You know, Justin Fry's got a great opportunity to go into the NFL, and you know, these opportunities come up when you win a championship like this. These guys are great coaches, and they have a chance to, you know, do different things, and that's part of it. Like you said, you know, now you gotta adjust, and you gotta, you know, figure out, you know, move these puzzle pieces around. The good news is we're at Ohio State, you know, so we have some really good opportunities to hire some great people and fit them in with some people who, you know, are really good young coaches and really good coaches that are just rising stars here, I think, in the profession, and some guys with great experience. And so, you know, this is going to be part of the deal. We knew that. I knew that right after the game it was going to happen like this. And so you have plans in place, but, you know, we're going to make sure we take our time and find the right guys because, you know, it's Ohio State. And so you have an opportunity to get the best.
I'll tell you, this list is interesting. Yeah, Brian Hartline, who's on staff, the wide receiver coach, and I think the passing game coordinator. Hartline's a great recruiter. He's done a ridiculously good job with the wide receiver room at Ohio State because all the Ohio State receivers show up as 5 stars or high 4 stars, ball out for 2 or 3 years, and take off to the NFL as first-round picks.
Yep.
Hartline is very well respected and obviously a former Ohio State wide receiver. Shannon Dawson, Miami offensive coordinator. You saw what went on last year with Cam Ward. Joe Moorhead. Forget Joe Moorhead's record as a head coach. Joe Moorhead is a high-level offensive mind. Right now, the Akron head coach, and they're terrible. 8-28 under Moorhead. And, of course, he was at Mississippi State, Fordham, whatever. But Moorhead's a very good offensive coordinator. Interesting name one here is Will Stein, the offensive coordinator at Oregon, who came in when Dillingham took off to be the Arizona State head coach. You really can't go wrong in a lot of these directions with these guys. I think Hartline gets promoted.
Yeah, probably so from continuity standpoint. And we talked about this earlier. Does that mean that Ryan Day takes on more of a role in the play calling once again, that he handed off to Chip Kelly? Maybe, because, again, Hartline's never been in a position to have to call plays. So we'll see. But the familiarity, comfort hire, that could be Hartline.
All right. We are discussing what's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. It's been a rough year for Carolina men's basketball, but a little good news for one of their players. We'll get to that and also talk a little bit about the men in the next segment. Terry Ford, David Dare, Tyler Head. It's a halftime show in the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Together, let's drive.
Get a free second pair of glasses with insurance at iMart Express. Now with an upgraded selection of over 150 frames to choose from. Pick one for when you're busy doing nothing, and one for when you're up for anything. Plus, with free same-day speed, go from booking an eye exam to walking out with new glasses in a blink. So you can take your vision benefits further, faster. iMart Express. Get glasses, go see.
Massive insurance companies may want to keep you from getting what you deserve after a car wreck. Don't let them. I'm Michael Jeffcoat, and my team is right here in South Carolina to fight for you. For over 26 years, we've helped your neighbors recover millions. We know the law, the system, and what it takes to win around here. And remember, no recovery, no fee. That's my promise to you. Call 803-200-2000 for a free consultation. The Jeffcoat Firm. You deserve better, so call us.
Responsible attorney Michael Jeffcoat, 1333 Main Street, Columbia.
Honey, would you take a seat? I have a confession to make.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, I was out driving today and I saw some hookers on the side of the road. A bunch of huge, professional, beautiful-looking hookers. So I did what I was supposed to do. I slowed down and I moved over.
You slowed down for the hookers?
Well, yeah, it's the law. There was a whole fleet of Schroeder's towing trucks assisting with an accident. Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
Schroeder's Towing reminds you to slow down and move over for all first responders.
Schroeder's Talent, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips and Grayson Griner here for our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson, now that you and the family have settled into life after years in the bigs, I hear you've added to what Integrated Media had already done around the house. Tell us what makes your system so much fun to use.
Yeah, Jay, Integrated Media has taken care of us from day one. Everything they do looks fantastic, everything they do sounds fantastic, and everything runs seamlessly when it comes to our smart home. In today's day and age of streaming everything, having a strong Wi-Fi connection throughout the house is critical, and Integrated Media is the best in the business at setting you and your family up with everything you could ever need.
Now, I don't know about you, but having an outdoor system that looks and sounds like the indoors is better than I could have imagined.
Yeah, one of the perks of living in the Midlands of South Carolina is enjoying time outdoors virtually year-round. From weatherproof mounted televisions to outdoor speaker systems, Integrated Media is the standard when it comes to outdoor entertainment. They're the only people I would ever recommend when it comes to outfitting your smart home indoors or out.
Work with the best in the business, and that's our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson and I can't recommend them highly enough. See their work on Facebook and Instagram, then call them up at 803-948-8327 and get Integrated Media into your home today.
At Progressive, we're making things even easier. We'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you could save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Calling all business owners and property managers. Is it finally time to get that parking lot or driveway repaved? Call Black Seal today. Black Seal is a locally owned commercial asphalt construction and maintenance company, servicing local churches, schools, shopping centers, warehouses, restaurants, you name it. If it needs asphalt paving or asphalt repair, Black Seal has you covered. If you're looking to pave your parking lot or driveway, Black Seal paves the way. Black Seal also provides maintenance options to maintain your asphalt and improve your curb appeal. Get your free estimate and visit blacksealsc.com to learn more.
This is Graham Murray, appliance specialist for The Nest. We offer unique and affordable products in plumbing, lighting, and appliances. We have product specialists on site to provide you the attention to detail and service you deserve. We believe in hard work, doing whatever it takes to get the job done, and providing exceptional customer experience. Our appliance division offers in-house consultation. We have an in-house installation and warranty division. Our staff has nearly 70 years experience. Come see us at 1331 Gadsden Street in the heart of the Vista.
Got something to say? Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer at 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. What's trending at 2? Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. 2 locations in Lexington and Sandhills on the Halftime Show on the Game Network.
What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry, Gamecock Traditions. Again, go check out the Gamecock Traditions 107.5 The Game over-under contest on the 107.5 The Game website. Appreciate you hanging out with us if you're in Columbia, in Florence, in Myrtle Beach. Thanks for hanging here on the Game Network. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford. It's the Halftime Show. All right, Colin Murray-Boyles. Look, we know it's been a rough year for Carolina men's basketball. Colin Murray-Boyles, though, making the Oscar Robertson watch list for Player of the Year. Will he win it? No.
Probably not.
But it's nice to make the watch list, especially when your team is scuffling and struggling the way that South Carolina has all year. And look, is CMB going to most likely be a first-round pick in the NBA draft? Yes. We'll see how high he can move up draft boards as things move along. But he will be, whether it's 24th, 18th, whatever, I think Colin Murray-Boyles will get picked in the first round because there's potential there, Tyler. If he works on his game to expand out to the three-point line consistently and maybe works on his handle a bit to where on the perimeter he can really put the ball on the deck, not just in those little short areas, you got a pretty nice NBA player who, I'm not going to say he's all NBA or a superstar. You just never know until a guy starts to get in the league and starts to practice a time. But there's a lot of high ceiling for Colin Murray-Boyles' game. He defends. He's, again, 6'7", 6'8", you can't live in the paint, not in the NBA. But he's got a lot of interesting qualities that will make him a first-round pick. There's no doubt.
Any chances in your mind that he might come back?
No. Unless, I shouldn't say no. I'll say this. If he goes and he goes through the NBA draft process and he doesn't like what he hears, then with the NIL money these days, I could see him coming back. to improve his draft stock.
In my opinion, as long as he's a first-round pick,
you go.
I don't see any reason why.
There you go.
See, that's what Wes and Chris are pushing back with me on earlier on this morning. I'm like, I just don't see it. I don't know why you would take that risk of coming back if you're already going to be a first-round. Like, okay, would you like to be a lottery pick? Sure, but first-round pick's still a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're going to be one of the, here's what you got. If you're projected anywhere like above 22. Because I always said this, if you're projected like between 27, 25, and 30, here's the issue. You're being projected in the first round, but so low in the first round, because you see it every year. Teams in the lower part of the first round are typically the better teams in the league.
Yeah.
And they're drafting, like they'll go and draft some guy from Angola who's got a 90-inch vertical leap, who's only played basketball for 2 years, and stash him overseas for a few years, or in the G League or wherever. So once you get to those last few in the first round, they can go goofy ways that nobody expects.
Sure.
So if you're between 25 and 30, you do have to sit and pause for a minute and go, okay, do I want to take the chance that I'm going to still go in the first round low, or do I want to come back and improve my draft stock to where I'm not looking at being a quote-unquote on the fence first rounder? But I'll say this. If he's above 20, I'll use the number 25. If he's above 25, I'm going.
Think about it from this standpoint as well. If theoretically there was a package through NIL that could allow him to come back, how much of your NIL in basketball is going to be tied up with him that's potentially preventing you from going out there and getting the pieces needed around him that you clearly don't have this year?
Exactly. And that's where you got to balance, because that brings up an interesting conversation. We heard Jeremiah Donati talk about this, the new athletic director, about sitting down with Lamont Paris and talking about basically NIL.
Yep.
We've heard people know more than myself discuss that South Carolina's men's basketball NIL has got to kick up. And it makes sense if you think about it, because you came off a really good season. And no, you're not a basketball power, you're not a blue blood, but you shocked the world, so to speak. You were picked 20th in a 16-team league, right?
Yep.
And you flirted with winning the SEC. And you made the NCAA tournament. And this is just no offense to anyone who came in the offseason through NIL, through the portal rather, but you would think you could have added a couple of more pieces, or maybe pieces with higher resumes on higher levels than what you did bring in. So obviously the NIL has to get moved up here a tick or two. Because again, you can get mad, you can get upset, but this is the world. And players want to cash in, and that's okay. You got to be able to give them the ability to cash in with your program. And you don't want NIL to hold you back. You just don't. So you got to figure out, and I'm glad to, you hear Donati talk about, got to sit down with Lamont, and we got to look at the whole NIL space. What it would mean.
Was it, I think, this week that he said they were having that conversation? Because, of course, you got a couple extra days off because you're not playing a midweek game. Because, again, what you went out and got in the portal this year clearly was not good enough compared to what you had last year, and you're going to have to reassess some things this offseason.
Right, so that's where you're at with the whole space of Carolina basketball. How much on the men's side can you help up the NIL game, which then makes you more of a player in the transfer portal when you hit the offseason? I mean, look at Missouri. Missouri, Dennis Gates' first year, which was Lamont's first year. Gates has this phenomenal year. Missouri goes to the NCAA tournament. Boy, this Gates guy, wow, plays this fun, fast tempo. The team's entertaining. They won a bunch of games. Got to the NCAAs. Last year, goose egg.
Nothing.
Oh, for the SEC. Then everybody's like, this guy sucks. And then this year, back in the portal, upgraded the team, and they're going to be in the NCAA tournament.
There's your blueprint on where you hope to be this time next year. It doesn't mean it's going to happen or not, but it is possible. Because, again, and basketball is such a different sport than football because you only got 5 guys on the court. So that one player can make such a huge difference. And again, Colin Murray-Bowles is the best player on this team. As we've seen, talked about time and time again, and you can see a direct correlation between when he plays well, when he's getting the ball, when he's taking shots, and how this team does, specifically in conference games. Remember those first 2 games? He scored 11 points between Mississippi State and Alabama, and they got beat by a combined 55 points. The Oklahoma game, he only took 4 shots in that game from the field, and they lost by 20 or whatever that was. So when he's playing well, when he's getting the ball and getting the chance to shoot, you're at least in those games and competitive.
Right. And that's what you got to get to. And that's what. Look, better players make you better.
Yes, I know. It's crazy.
It's a nutty idea. And the other part is, again, this goes to Lamont. I don't know the answer. Lamont plugged in guys last year. Nobody was doing backflips over B.J. Mack, Talon Cooper. Once I started really digging into Talon Cooper, I really loved the resume of Talon Cooper. With B.J. Mack, I was like, how's his game going to translate to the SEC? And B.J. Mack, to be fair, held his own. So, but they weren't athletic, twitchy guys. Like, they weren't like high risers or, physical freaks. They were just good, sound basketball players who did a lot of fundamentally things well.
Yep.
Lamont then plugs in guys this year. How much of that also was Lamont saying, okay, I plugged in guys last year because I believed in who they were and what they were, and it worked. I don't need to go down the road everybody thinks I need to go down. I know my path. I'm going to plug in guys that I think is the best. Now, this year it didn't work. Do you reassess your path? Do you say, well, maybe I need more athletic players? Or do I need to go a different way in my philosophy of guys I get through the portal? That's another thing about this. Because now you are the GM, truly, and you're spending dollars. So, and by the way, we're talking about the NBA draft. Because I've always said you don't want to fall into the second round. Because the first round's guaranteed dough. The second round, you're at the mercy of what a team wants to give you. And I'll give you an example. Jalen Pickett was number 32 player overall in the NBA draft. Signed a 4-year, $8.2 million deal with the Nuggets. $5.8 million guaranteed. So if I'm not going to be a first-round pick, there's the conversation of, again, it's a little bit more of an unknown. But if you're going to go upper second round, is that more money than what you would get on an NIL deal coming back?
Depends.
That's where this world is now. Okay, because second round picks, there's no guaranteed contracts. Teams can give you a guaranteed deal and give you a signing bonus like that right there. That's not automatic. That's not slotted. Like the NFL, you get an idea about what guys make if they're picked in the second, third round, stuff like that with slotting and all this other stuff and rookie wage scales and everything. In the NBA, once you get in the second round, it depends on what a team wants to give you. So, I mean, Bronny got a 2-way deal late in the second round. So that's what you have to think about. But me, if you tell me I'm a first-round pick, I'm leaving.
Yeah, may as well.
Very simple. I'm leaving. Don't need to be in the lottery. I'll be 22. I'm still leaving.
Yeah.
That's just me. All right. It's the greatest day in the history of the world, Tyler Head, February 4th. We'll talk about that next. Halftime show. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford hanging here till 3 on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Spring cleaning is creeping up, so get a head start by calling Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning. You'd be surprised by the amount of dust, dander, and allergens sitting in your duct system and circulating in your home. Zerorez is the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $75 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR75 when scheduling online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Check out the Season of Love at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 in Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
AAA Heating and Air is on the hunt to find the oldest AC unit in our Midland service area. Do you think it could be yours? If you do, it could pay off. AAA Heating and Air and My Oldest AC contest is kicking off, and you have a chance to win a new HVAC system for your home. Just head over to their website, myoldAir.com, and complete the online entry
entry form. AAA Heating and Air will draw a winner at random for every 100 entries. It really is that easy. Contest is limited time only. Residents in the AAA Heating and Air service area are eligible to enter. See the terms and rules on their website for a full list of contest rules.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
Well, we've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253 or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Transform your property with Black Seal, Columbia's premier asphalt paving and maintenance experts. With unmatched expertise, we deliver exceptional results for residential and commercial projects of any size. Our skilled team specializes in asphalt paving, seal coating, repair, crack sealing, and removal, utilizing the latest techniques and top quality materials. Trust Black Seal to enhance your property's appearance and durability. Visit blacksealsc.com today to experience the Black Seal difference.
Enjoy up to 70% off premium products, designer handbags, gift cards from national chains, autographed sports memorabilia, cruises, hotel accommodations, and more. SweetDeals.com. Click Premium.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
The greatest day in the history of the world on the Halftime Show.
Real quick here before we get the greatest day in the history of the world. University of South Carolina's plans to reimagine Williams-Brice Stadium have received approval from the state of South Carolina's legislature. Their joint bond review committee and state fiscal accountability authority is saying, "Wow, Tara, it's a lot of word salad." Yeah, basically, this is just this is a step, and it's just a step in the process. This is the way it always works. It's standard procedure for major projects from state entities. University will return to the committees in later 2025, seeking formal approval on the full scope and cost of the project. It's just, this tells you moving forward.
It's step 1D, or if you want to put it that way, because again, you had the announcement, you had the contingent plans, you had the, okay, now we're hiring this group, now we're hiring that group. Like, they've never lied to you and said this is going to happen fast, because it's not. So this is just another small step in the direction of making these things happen.
Right. But it's the next baby step in the baby steps just happened today. All right, greatest day in the history of the world, February 4th. This day in 1861, the Philadelphia Athletics beat Charter Oak 36-27 in a baseball game played on a frozen field, Litchfield Pond in Brooklyn, New York. The players wore ice skates.
This might be the oldest of old schools that we've had. 1861, that is, I mean, when you think of organized sports in America, you don't really go back a whole lot further than that.
I think it's interesting that they're playing this game on February 4th.
Yep.
Wearing ice skates.
What was that final score?
36-27.
Okay.
Very interesting. Played a baseball game in February, laced up with ice skates.
I'm trying to think, because that's going to affect a lot of how you play baseball. Just stepping forward to swing, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they stood flat-footed back then. They didn't think of the power you get through taking
Weight
a step,
shift.
shifting your weight. Because I'm you can't, you're going to fall down unless you're just the most talented ice skater in the world. That's tough.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to look it up real quick. Why were you playing a baseball game on a frozen pond in February in Brooklyn, New York, and I can't find anything? But it's very interesting.
You want to talk about a takeout slide with ice skates?
Ice skate coming in. Remember, you come in spikes high?
Yeah.
Come in skates
blade high.
Uh-huh.
You remember, what was the goalie that got his jugular cut?
Oh, yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Had the towels up, and blood everywhere?
Yeah, you're asking for that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe sliding was illegal back then. I don't know.
1861,
they created baseball on February 3rd, and they played this game the next day, seemingly.
You always play this game on ice.
Yeah, why
Sounds
not?
like a great idea.
Imagine if that caught on.
Ice baseball?
Ice baseball. You know what? MLB Winter Classic. Once a year, play a game on ice, go to Lake Tahoe or whatever the NHL did a couple years ago and play it there.
Oh, that skate sliced off Shohei Ohtani's hand. Who would have thought that?
I'd watch.
Well, you're a sicko.
Well, yeah. give me sports in uncomfortable places.
Yeah, that would be weird. Then put hockey players on a baseball diamond.
I like it.
Will they give them a bat? That would be dangerous.
There you go.
Beat the heck out of each other.
It's one thing. You can play hockey in a baseball stadium. Play hockey on a baseball diamond.
There you go. 1924, the first Winter Olympics. That closes in France. 16 countries competed in 17 events from 7 sports. 1932, Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. First Winter Games in the United States. Of course, my lifetime, I remember the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid when the U.S. hockey team stunned the world by beating the Soviets and winning the gold medal. That was the second time. The interesting part is before that, they had the Winter Olympics, it was 1958, was the last time the Winter Olympics were in the U.S. in a place called Squaw Valley. And the U.S. won the gold medal in hockey in that one, too. So there you go. All right. In Baseball Hall of Fame election, 1957, Joe McCarthy and Sam Crawford. Old school guys. Old school fellas.
Going to guess they weren't unanimous because nobody is.
Nobody. Joe McCarthy, my memory serves, a legendary manager. Sam Crawford was a heck of a player. No, neither was you because Babe Ruth wasn't unanimous. So who can be?
And if the Babe can't be unanimous,
nobody can be.
Nobody can be.
1969, 24 Major League team owners unanimously selected Bowie Kuhn as the commissioner. He got a 1-year deal. How much does Roger Goodell make?
Like $44 million?
Bowie Kuhn made $100,000 as a commissioner of baseball.
Roger Goodell probably makes more than that before he gets out of bed in the morning.
He wouldn't get out of bed for $100,000. Roger Goodell would be like, yeah, I'm sleeping in for $100,000.
That's the money that Roger Goodell donates that he doesn't even realize he donates.
It's ridiculous.
To charities or whatever.
$100,000 to be commissioner.
Oh, I donated $100,000. Okay, that's fine.
1976, U.S. District Court Judge John W. Oliver upholds the ruling of arbitrator Peter Seitz that declared Andy Messersmith and Dave McNally free agents. This opened the floodgates in baseball. Now, Curt Flood started this in the late 60s, early 70s, trying to get free agency. By the way, ruined Curt Flood's career. Andy Messersmith with the Dodgers, Dave McNally with the Orioles, both wanted free agency. They had to go to court to fight for it. And this started the free agency that you see in baseball today.
Yeah, and now it's obviously such a normal part of all sports. I can't imagine today's game without that being such a major factor.
Well, I remember hearing stories. Like I talked to some old school baseball players who, played the game before free agency. Teams had all the power and the leverage. I remember there was a great story written, Frank Robinson.
They got paid peanuts back then.
And they got paid with peanuts, actual peanuts.
Basically.
Here you go, buddy. You get a raise, 2 packs of peanuts. Frank Robinson came off his the year he won the Triple Crown in 1966. Orioles won the World Series. Frank was the MVP. And Frank goes in to negotiate. I believe it was Frank Cashin was the GM of the Orioles. And Frank's representing Frank.
Yeah.
There was no agents. Frank sat down with Cashin. And let's just say Frank made $90,000. It's the 60s.
Yeah.
Let's just say 100.
If he made that much.
Let's just have fun and say he made 100.
Sure. Or today's equivalent to 100.
Yeah, Frank goes in and says, I made 100 last year. I won the MVP, the Triple Crown, and we won the World Series. I'd like 125. Frank goes, yeah, you like that? And I'd like to, look like James Bond.
Yeah.
Here's 100. Here's 101.
I was going to say, we'll give you 125 cents. How about that?
There you go. Good talking to you, Frank. What are you going to do?
Yeah, hey, you had nothing else.
You had no
Can't
leverage.
Say, well,
you couldn't do anything.
I can go here and make 130. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
No.
Or it didn't work that way.
So, and I get people, and I always say it too, you get paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game.
Was that violating antitrust? Just asking.
Losing court. Probably. That's probably
was.
To be honest, the way we become antitrust lawyers in sports talk when it comes to college athletics, I wonder if that 1976 ruling, I wonder if antitrust came up because you were limiting
earning potential.
The earning potential of Major League Baseball
not
players.
being able to shop the market and say, hey, here's what my value is to all these other teams. Can you beat it?
Could have been. But that was the world. Look, we always say, is it ridiculous that a professional athlete makes more money than like a firefighter? Sure it is, because in our world, who's more important? Please. But market is the market. And if your profession generates so much money that you can get paid ungodly sums of dough to perform in that profession, more power to you.
Yeah.
More power to you.
It's just how it is now.
Yep. This day in 1997, Mario Lemieux scored his 600th goal as the Penguins beat the Canucks. The thing about Lemieux that always impressed me, remember, he had Hodgkin's. He would get chemotherapy and then go play in a hockey game.
Unbelievable.
He did that against the Flyers and got and Philly. Remember, Philly fans hate everybody, especially the Penguins, because Flyers and Penguins. The Philly fans gave Lemieux a standing ovation when he took the ice.
Wow.
That's how impressive what Lemieux was doing when he went through the whole Hodgkin's thing and then went to attempt to play. Greatest day in the history of the world, here on the Halftime Show on the Game. 2007, Peyton Manning finally gets a Super Bowl victory with the Indianapolis Colts. They beat the Chicago Bears 29-17. Tony Dungy became the first black head coach to win a championship, beating his good friend and protege Lovie Smith in a game that featured the first two black head coaches in Super Bowl history. The NFL trumpeted this. I was almost like, you should be ashamed of yourself. It took this long to get to this point.
Super Bowl 42?
2007 it took to get to that point.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and they were patting themselves on the back.
Yeah, it's crazy that, that's the 9th year of Peyton Manning's career at that point in time. It took him that long to win a Super Bowl. And again, he had the Brady thing in the way, which obviously was his arch nemesis in the playoffs every single year. But, it's insane how many more Super Bowls he could have won if old number 12 wasn't in New England.
A lot of people thought Manning could never win a big game, like they talk about Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen.
He had to deal with that for almost the first half of his career.
And then Manning finally got through. Last one, 2018. We've been talking about it all week. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the New England Patriots. 41-33 was the final. Phenomenal game. Nobody's punting. It was the most entertaining Super Bowl I ever watched.
Most fun one I've ever watched, for sure.
Phenomenal game. The Eagles scored the go-ahead touchdown with 2:21 to go. The defense finally got a stop. Philly wins 41-33. And that saved us all in my house from having my girlfriend kill us.
And Nick Foles has a statue outside of the link now.
Philly special, baby. All right, we'll come back in here, get our Firehouse sub text the hour, 803-404-6100. Halftime show here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Andrew Perloff with the Sports Minute. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell laughed off a question about officials favoring the Chiefs at his Super Bowl press conference. But there's nothing he can do about the degree of scrutiny. Fans are so passionate, every call is going to be picked apart. Goodell is laughing now, but he better hope the Super Bowl doesn't come down to a bad call one way or the other, because he's going to get a lot more questions about this topic if it does. I'm Andrew Perloff.
Right now, get up to a $15 gift card after rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy, or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 107.5 The Game app.
Get our Firehouse Sub text of the hour here in a second, 803-404-6100. Do our handoff with our buddy Jay Phillips from the postgame show as well. Halftime show, David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford here on the game. What do you got there on the old text machine?
Says the conversation about the ice baseball reminds this listener of basketball. We're talking about intersports play.
Oh, what a movie. Yeah. Basketball.
He's like, I'm all for it. Sign me up.
Very underrated, kind of all over the place movie.
What is ice baseball?
1861 on this day. They played a game of baseball on a frozen pond in Brooklyn. One team beat another 31-26, and they played on ice skates.
And I said every year we should have an MLB Winter Classic, go to like Lake Tahoe or something like that.
Baseball and ice skates.
Play baseball and ice skates and profit.
And then we could have a hockey game on a baseball diamond.
Exactly.
I think as long as you can get the owners to be convinced that no one will get hurt, they'd be happy to profit.
How funny would it be, Bryce Harper on ice skates?
Well, that I would like him to.
You know what?
No, I'm kidding.
You know what?
No,
I totally set you up. You're welcome.
I did not say that.
Let's be honest. He'd probably still be really, really good.
Yeah, he's falling around. He's tripping and falling. And then he gets a bat in his hand, hits a ball 500 feet.
He's from the wrong side of Nevada, though.
Yeah, they don't do any of that ice skating
it's hot
mess.
down that
right.
way.
Exactly.
I've never been to Tahoe, but I really want to go.
So do I. That's on my list of places I'd like to check out.
That was one of those things that, like, COVID afforded the opportunity for them to do the Winter Classic at Tahoe, and you just had this like beautiful picturesque scenery because you didn't have to worry about having fans there. Like one of the few things that COVID allowed that was actually really cool.
I remember that. That was cool looking. I'd like to go there too, man. That's on the list of places I have not gone. I'd like
ever
to
since Godfather
venture.
2.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
I'm like, that place looks pretty,
how cool did it look in
cool,
Godfather
man.
2?
You know?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure I could live in the Corleone compound.
Yeah, maybe the shed on the Corleone compound.
Right. Rocco, alive!
Such a good movie. Such a good movie. All righty. It's funny. I forgot about this till I just looked up at the TVs. I still haven't cracked the code, and Jay comes in and turns them on in 5 seconds. You're a genius.
The button that says
You're just a genius.
Well,
Luka Doncic had his noon presser today.
Oh, I didn't see it.
And you know the interesting part of this, and forget all the other stuff we've yapped about.
Yeah.
And maybe you guys talked about it, you and Elijah. But the idea that in this day and time, in 2025, where nobody can shut their mouth and everybody leaks something to someone, nobody knew this was going on but the two parties involved.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how far it got past each GM. I mean, obviously they've got to tell their owners, but I'm imagining Pelinka told like just Jeannie and not her brother.
Right. Oh, you can't tell that.
Who seems
big
like
mouth.
he would run his mouth all over the place, but she, I think, is shrewd.
And I'm guessing Harrison went to the matriarch Adelson and said, "This is what we're doing," and she probably would. I have to pay $70 million for a guy to play basketball.
Yeah.
Okay. But isn't it though? Isn't it?
No, it's
interesting.
It is. It's you're right. It's in any age, but especially in this one where it's so easy to almost air quote communicate, to certainly share information. It is. I'm still fascinated by it, and I've been racking my brain on this for yesterday, today, like really trying to come up with a more shocking trade. You and I briefly discussed it, and I don't remember it happening when Kareem was traded, but I know that was a huge deal at the time.
Nobody saw that coming,
and that's probably like the second biggest NBA trade. I mean, there've been again, free agent moves are different. I mean, some can be shocking. I'm trying to think, even like Barkley was a free agent, right? He didn't.
Yeah, Barkley was a free agent. So I believe he signed in Phoenix. But remember, he was on his way out of Philly, so everybody knew that he was going to leave Philly at some point and go and get some dough.
And I think the interesting thing about this is, again, Luka's only 25 years old.
Right.
So
Well, that's the shocking part of the
be around
trade.
for another 10 to 12, 15 years, and who knows what he's going to potentially accomplish in L.A. or wherever he continues on his career, where you look back and say, I can't believe Dallas gave him up at that point.
Yeah, it just... and we've all had our own, on our shows, our thoughts and opinions on the idea you traded a 25-year-old generational talent. And the question is, why did you really do it, right? We're all going, conditioning, whatever. Why'd you really do it?
Yeah,
because we're all expecting something from the police blotter to come out that nobody knew, because this makes no sense on the surface for so many reasons. And then if you were going to trade him, why didn't you go build the market?
Right.
Why'd you just talk to? That's like you and I going to shop for a car. We go to the first dealership and buy the first car we test drive.
I'm under the impression, and I think ultimately we get more truth. These two guys, these two GMs knew each other very well from both being on Team Kobe. And my hunch is that it's Garrison, right? Nico Garrison.
Nico Harrison.
Sorry, of the Mavs probably went to Pelinka, knowing full well that the Lakers, as an organizational philosophy, must, not want, they must have a megastar. It's who they are, right? They're the Lakers.
They're the Lakers.
And that's fine. I mean, that from George Mikan to Wilt Chamberlain to Magic and Kareem
Jerry
and
West,
Worthy to Shaq and Kobe, and now LeBron. They have to have, and so he probably knew Rob's going to need him one. I got one. Let's see what happens, and then they went from there.
You know what else is interesting? If your NBA players are pretty much divas and run the show in their mind, well, very few guys have no trade clauses. If you're an NBA guy, if Luka Doncic can get traded, nobody's safe now, right? What do you got coming up? Quick.
We got Teron Davenport talking NFL draft, where the Gamecocks fit in.
Sweet. Tyler, good job. Dave, good job. Do it tomorrow.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Personal injury lawyers are